Hello, 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 and welcome. Today we are here for our follow-up menopause, perimenopause, all things menopause panel. So I am so excited to have these ladies join me again. So let's welcome Lorraine from the Downsides. Hey, Lorraine.
Hey, girl.
We
Hey.
have B, Mel B. You guys know her. And we have Simply Taisha. Welcome, ladies. Welcome. So we did a follow-up panel because we had so many comments from the first panel we did where people wanted us to do a follow-up. And I must say, I've had so many people tell me that since that first live we did, that they were able to talk to their doctor and seek out treatment. So I think that is like awesome. That was the purpose. If you can reach one, that's excellent. If you can reach more than that, it's just beyond, exciting. So I hope that was beneficial. And then tonight, we hope that, somebody who comes along and watches this, for the first time will be inspired, motivated, feel a little bit educated to go and talk to their doctor or their healthcare professional to seek some support and get some relief from, the symptoms that come along with being perimenopausal, menopausal, and then postmenopausal. So to get us started, I want to start off by just letting us know, since our last live we had, what is your status? What are you doing as far as your perimenopause, menopause journey? And tell us about your GLP-1 journey as well, because we do want to tie GLP-1s into our discussion tonight. So let's start with Lorraine.
Oh, you're going to start with me, huh? Okay. Well, thanks for having me, Downsizing Diva. My name's Lorraine Durham. I'm from a channel called The Downsized, and I've lost 50, well, I say 50 pounds, but today it's more like 47 pounds on the GLP-1 medication compounded tirzepatide. And I actually went through menopause when I started the GLP-1, and it kind of all happened at the same time. So that was almost 2 years ago now. So I guess according to my levels, I'm postmenopausal. I'm on a hormone replacement patch. I take a progesterone pill, and that's my story, I guess, in a nutshell.
Okay, great. We love it. All right, Mel to the B.
Yes, so my name is Mel Bethel, better known as the Mel B, self-titled, and I am a content creator supporter. For those of you who don't know, which you might be under a rock, I am currently postmenopausal. In terms of GLP-1, started March 20th, 2024, reached my initial goal in July. Found out that I'd lost a ton of muscle, decided to build some muscle and lose a little bit more weight, and have been feeling fine since like the end of last year, And in terms of my hormone replacement, I am on bioidentical, also known as body identical hormone replacement therapy. I use estradiol, which is a spray. There's another story associated with that, kind of a recent story. But I use that spray called Evimis for estradiol. I also use testosterone, a microdose. I say microdose because it's 1/10 of what a man takes, and it's a tube, and I just squeeze a pea-sized amount out, and I put it on my forearm or my thigh. Do that every day. And what else? Am I on anything else? No. Those are my two hormones of choice outside of a GLP-1, which we know is also a hormone. And I take creatine. That's it.
I need creatine.
And Taisha, tell us about
Okay. Just kidding. I have been on my Zepbound journey since February of last year. I reached my goal weight in July of last year, and I reached my goal body fat percentage. Hold on. Was it June? This year. I don't remember if it was August or the recent DEXA scan I had. I feel like there was one in June. Anyway, I've reached that, and I'm maintaining on 5 milligrams, and I take it once a week, and I'm going to take it indefinitely. I'm not going to, at least right now, that is what I'm envisioning. Indefinitely. I'm not going to microdose, because these are questions I get. I'm not microdosing. I'm not spacing anything out. I'm taking my shot once a week on Sundays. And now I am perimenopausal. I just started, and actually it was after Dee Dee did the live stream, her first live stream about perimenopause and those symptoms. So then I talked to my doctor, and here we are. So I actually have them here. I take estradiol. So that is here. And then it's a patch, right? So I do this patch, which I have to do today because it's the day, but it's just, and it's small. And I'm going to open this really quickly. I'm sorry, guys. I don't want to hold everybody up, but I just want to show you
I want to see what yours looks like. I'll have to put on my
how
glass.
small it is.
Yeah. Does yours have like, does that have a backing with words on it?
It does.
Does that peel off?
This plastic here peels off.
But do the words peel off?
No, the words stay on. The words are actually on the actual patch.
Yeah.
So I'm on 0.1 milligrams. I take that twice a week on Saturdays and Tuesdays. And then I have, let me open this because I brought the wrong one upstairs, a testosterone gel. That is, it comes in this, which will last a long time, right? And then, I don't know if you guys,
That's the two.
and that's what that looks like. And it's just a pea-sized amount. And the last thing is the Uvafem, which is, it's a suppository, right? Vaginal insert. Am I able to say that? Like, is that?
I forgot my vagina. Remember, we can say it.
I don't know how YouTube is. I don't have a problem with the word, but this is what it looks like, right?
This isn't TikTok. We can say whatever we want. Yeah.
Right.
And I don't know if you guys can see. I'm trying to open this
and
really
what does
quickly.
That do? What does that do, Taisha?
That keeps things,
Juicy.
Yeah. There you go. There you go, as Mel would say. If you have problems, so if a person has problems with dryness and things like that, this will help. Now, I'm not saying this is like, it's not the same as using lube or something, but it just helps keep everything healthy and heal any issues because that area tends to thin. So this is helping. And I don't know if you can see on here really, let me take my eyes out of it, how tiny it is.
The tip with the little pill. It's the size of a birth control pill.
Very
I have
tiny.
that too.
And I do that twice a week. I do it on the same days that I do my my patch. And that's all I have. I have been doing well on it. No side effects, nothing. I just haven't had any. I haven't had any side effects on the Zepbound, thankfully. And I haven't had any with this replacement therapy. So that's my story.
So your replacement therapy is HRT. So some of the HRT, right? Okay.
Yeah. Then this is all I have. Yeah, I don't have anything like customized special. It's nothing like that. The VA is not doing all of that.
Okay, because we're going to talk about the difference between the two at some point tonight. So I just wanted to clarify that. So thank you. You are doing some treatments. We love that. I'm sure some people in the chat or out there watching can relate. So thank you for sharing that. So I just want to share, my little journey here. I am 77 pounds down so far on my GLP-1 journey. And you guys know I haven't really started a countdown, but I really should, because that'll really motivate me, like this DEXA scan has the results of my second one, to, pick it up a notch so I could get to my 25 pounds down. I was thinking, I'm listening to my song and I'm saying in my song, I'm going to be 100 pounds down in 2025. So if you know me, I'm a goal setter and I like to reach my goal. So that is my goal. So that is where I'm at with that. So I do have an announcement. I don't know if you guys realize this or not, but I am postmenopausal. I'm not only through menopause, I'm postmenopausal.
What?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Levels checked.
I guess.
Watch out for the party coming near you. I have my levels checked. And, if you saw my last video, I was disappointed because I didn't get the full hormone panel that I was looking for. But one question was answered. Am I in menopause? I thought, okay, am I in menopause? Am I through menopause? Like, what is going on? Well, I am postmenopausal. So my FSH, which is your your
Follicle stimulating hormone. Yeah.
Mhm.
follicle stim. I was going to say that, Mel. Thank you. So that hormone, as much as I've been talking about
Sorry.
this, I know. And so that that was what my doctor had tested, and then she also had my LH hormone checked. Mel, do you want to say what that is?
Luteinizing hormone.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so I had those two checked, and I was disappointed because I only had those two, but I wanted so much more. But anyway, my levels indicated that I was postmenopausal, and it started to get me thinking, like, okay, now what does that mean? And so, in order for me to seek out, some treatment for some of the things I have going on, which really is just the sleep. I'm still baffled by the sleep of it all. But I also know that I'm a busy lady. Like my hands are juggling and full, and I'm doing lots of things all the time. Like, I remember, when we had our former president, people who know me would say, "You're busier than President such and such." And so I'm always one of those people. Even before I was a mom, I was, always doing something and always volunteering my time. And so I always wonder, like, how much of what I'm going through is that. But, the reality of it is when you are, postmenopausal, you have lost estrogen, and, that affects your body in different types of ways. And so that's kind of what we want to talk about. And I do think, I need to address that. And so I'm still trying to seek, more testing so that I can actually, do what's best for me and my body and my whole situation. So I just kind of wanted to, ask you guys really quick, and then we'll get into talking about the difference between the stages you are in: perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause. From the last live we had, was there something that stood out to you guys that surprised you the most, or that you remembered from the last live? Anybody can, chime in.
That might have been the first time I heard about the testosterone from Mel, or maybe she had told it to me before, maybe when I did an interview with her. But it really got me thinking about, and Taisha has mentioned testosterone therapy also, and that's something that I keep hearing about. I don't know if it's just because now it's in my head. Now I keep hearing about it more and more, but that's definitely something I want to look into further.
Okay, anybody else? Well, I will say for me, one of the things that stood out is there are a variety of things you can do. And what also stood out to me is we should be doing something when your estrogen levels drop, because, I was doing some research, and one of the things I was reading over and over and over is that, within 10 years, when you are, told that you have, that you're in the stage of menopause, you really should do something with your hormone levels in that first 10 years. And you need to really get on it. So then, waiting is probably not the best thing, which in my mind, I thought, I'm going to wait until I can't wait anymore. So that's one of the things that I think that it was a light bulb moment for me. I thought I need to do something a little different, and maybe, just try to address things before they happen. And that's kind of how I operate. I want to be like proactive instead of being reactive. And so because I'm not a fan of medication and taking medication, that has been what has kind of held me back. And then I have a very close friend, almost like a sister, that is taking BHRT treatment, and she has taken the pellets, and it's customized to her. And I trust her with my life. So when she told me she was doing it, I felt like, okay, like I know she's going to research what she's doing. I felt like she's going to, be on top of things, but also I still have to do my own research. So, and then talking to Mel B, about different, forms of treatment, and Taisha, it just made me think like, okay, I need to maybe do something or, try to be more informed so that I can make an informed choice. So I guess that's where I'm at with it. So, all right. Anybody else have anything to say before we move on?
I have 2 cents to add to that. I'm trying to remember. I think her title is a clinical pharmacologist that works with women's health there at the VA. She was saying that ideally, even the gynecologist said this, ideally, you want to start these things before you get through menopause. It would help a lot of women to start these treatments in perimenopause before you get to that point. And a lot of people, I understand there are different people who don't have, like my mom, she didn't have any symptoms as far as she could recognize, right? Of going through menopause or whatever. We noticed her mood was a little different. Was a little different because she's the sweet woman and her temper was a little short. But outside of that, she didn't have any that she was aware of. But that's the thing. We could be going through things and not even realize it. Poor sleep. Just there are a lot of different things. So if you at least get your testing done. If you get your testing done now, you'll know. And maybe you can have, if you have a doctor that is willing to, if you don't have a doctor that's willing to take that seriously, my advice is to find someone else and get a second and third opinion if you need to.
And that's a great point. That's the process I'm in now of finding a second and a third opinion. So I think I have a person picked out. And then here where I live, we have like a guru person so a couple of teachers I work with are going to. And I probably won't get into with this person until maybe the summertime of next year. This is, how these experts are way booked up in advance. But I do have like an alternative. And then my primary care doctor, I'm going to have to really have a conversation with her at the end of next month and see where that goes. But I do want to find somebody that specializes in menopause and women's health. I think just like we get a specialist for everything else, I think a specialist for this is what I'm going to need, especially somebody like me with a million questions. I want them answered. I want them all answered. All right. So I just want to kind of educate us because of, the last video I made, people were telling me I was able to screenshot some of the things that you said. And so I thought if I had something visual to show and not just talking, I think that might be helpful for some people. So the panel that may be all informed, just kind of, listen in and chime in after I'm done. And hopefully this doesn't crash me out because, my StreamYard sometimes it is not always the best. Yes.
Before you put that in, can I say one more thing?
Sure.
That you can get your levels checked, but that they're really going by symptoms because let's say you're within the normal range. Well, prior to going through, you could have been up here and now you're down here. They're not going to know that because it's not something that they're testing, they're not just testing you for that. So you could be within range, but your symptoms can still make you a candidate. That's it.
Yeah. When I went to my doctor, she said, this one that I'm probably not going to be working with for very much longer. But one of the things she kept saying was, we don't need your blood work back to give you treatment, which was the HRT. She just wasn't very, familiar with the BHRT. Which is the bioidentical hormone treatment. She wasn't familiar with that, but she kept saying, we talked about the difference between the patch and the pill. And she said, that's one thing I loved about her, because some doctors won't even do that. But she was like, we're going to go based on how you feel and your symptoms, which is the sleep, which I'm doing better at, but I still think it could be better, even that could be better. And just the fatigue. And that's why sometimes when I started taking the GLP-1, I did feel better, but I don't know how much of it is the the hormones versus the GLP-1. So that's why I want to do something and so I can see, because I will never know unless I try to treat it. Do you know what I mean? So I guess that's the angle I'm coming from. So I am one of those people who, my doctor was going to give me, a treatment based on how I was feeling versus even knowing what the results were.
Dee Dee, thank you for saying that. I just wanted to add one other thing. The patches and the gel, the topical hormone replacement therapy is bioidentical or body identical hormone replacement therapy. The conjugated estrogen is what is horse urine, is made in part from horse urine. So I'm just going to take it over to Taisha. Taisha is on BHRT. I'm going to say that for her.
I didn't know
She's
that.
on BHRT. Yeah, just FYI. I just wanted to clear that up. Very few people right now are being prescribed like Premarin, which is one of the brand names for the CEE, or the conjugated equine estrogen. So conjugated equine as in horse, estrogen, which is what they use in the Women's Health Initiative. I wanted to clear that up because of what Taisha said, because, so anyway. All right.
Gotcha.
Well, thank you, Mel. Thank you. I wondered that when she was saying that, but we do know there are patches that are just HRT, and I don't know what they're prescribing now because I'm not sure. But that's what my doctor talked to me about, HRT, just the the patch versus the pill. And I said, oh, okay. And so I listened to her. But like I said, I wasn't going to walk out of there and take anything until I had like all my hormone
Absolutely.
levels.
And you don't have to worry about your liver either. Like when you do it this way versus taking a pill.
Yeah, so she talked about that too. Yes.
I keep holding you up, and I keep thinking of things. I'm so sorry.
No, I want you to chime in. I want this to be more of a discussion than we're talking at each other.
I had a hysterectomy, so I don't have a uterus, so I don't need progesterone. So that's why I'm just doing.
Neither do I.
So
I have a uterus.
Doing that.
I do too.
I still got my parts. That's why I have
ovaries.
Progesterone, I guess.
I don't know why I did this, but
I have nothing. Zero. There's nothing. You all have something. It's like hello.
Hello.
I'm just joking, but I don't. I have nothing in there.
Yeah. Well, my sister had a hysterectomy, which I guess that puts you into immediate menopause, right? That's how it works.
Medically induced, right?
And then you have to take the hormone replacements because you don't have the uterus providing anymore, or your ovaries.
Yeah, and the ovaries. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
exactly. Yeah. So all of my stuff, the reason why everything was removed from me was because I was 30 something. So I was very young, but I had not only fibroids that were in bed on the wall of my uterus, but I also had a horrible case of endometriosis, too much to clean up when I had surgery. So I had already signed saying that I would like a total abdominal hysterectomy if indeed it was too much. And the endometriosis and the fibroids was too much. So I have no cervix, no uterus, no fallopian tubes. What else is up in there? I have nothing, nada. So it's just, it's a total abdominal hysterectomy.
Cervix gone too? Did they redo?
Cervix gone. Cervix gone.
Did they have to put something else in there to?
No.
Which you have, I didn't want any more pap smears. That was the option.
Me either.
Take it.
Oh, wow. Because I still have to have those every couple of years. I forget.
Yeah. I think it's 5 years now.
Done.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I don't. Thankfully,
don't have them.
You gave me an option too. I'm like, because then I don't have to worry about cervical cancer. There's nothing there.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Do you need a cervix for anything?
No, we don't need them now.
Mom of 3 children here. I have no idea about how my body works. So,
we all,
right?
We're all.
It's so frustrating because, I was listening to a podcast the other day, and the doctor was saying every woman will go through menopause, right? There's no question
every woman.
about it, right? Every woman will go through menopause, and yet we're not educated on it. We're not told what's going to happen. We're not given these options necessarily by our doctors. And why not? We need to talk about it. We need to bring awareness to it. We need to learn about these things because, until my doctors asked me about it a couple of years ago when I was actually going through it, I didn't know a patch. What do you mean? Like
yeah.
Like what?
Yeah. What are you talking about? Yeah.
I thought those were like cause cancer. Like, what do I want this? Like, what are you talking? Like, and I'm a college educated woman. I'm all I'm on
Well,
the
you know,
YouTube. I'm on
I
the.
do want to say though, I think this is because women are smart, we're multitaskers, and we are very educated about most things. And I think what happens is with anything else, if you don't experience it yourself, you don't feel like it's a need to know. You're on a need to know basis, right? And I'm going through
Yeah.
this with retirement. It's so many things about retirement from my teaching job that I'm learning about. And I thought to myself, why am I just finding out like a year or two before I retire? Well, that's because when I was 20, starting out on my job, it was so far off, I didn't think about it.
Right.
And so you think about it when you're close to it. And I think that men, women, most people, right? You wait till when something happens, that's when you learn about it. That's when you become more knowledgeable. So that's why we want to spread the word that even if you're not, and you don't think you're close, you could be in it. You know, some people I know the earliest case I know is someone told me that they went through menopause in their 30s. And she said, luckily she had her 2 children already, but I know people as early in their 30s that have gone through menopause. And so
Wow.
I always thought like, oh, when I turned, when I was in my 30s, I thought, oh, you had to be 50 in your 50s. Now I'm learning that people, and it really started with this GLP-1 journey and my symptoms and trying to figure all that out, that I realized that people could be in their 30s. And one thing that's shocked me is I was asking, and I mentioned this the last time, I was asking so many women, just what stage of menopause were they in? Were they perimenopausal? Were they going through menopause? And most of the women were already through it, and they weren't even 50 yet. They all like, what?
They probably didn't
Wow.
even know, or did they even? What exactly constitutes?
Well, I asked them, I said, how do you know? And then they said their doctor, they had their levels tested.
Yeah.
And, the funny thing is when you ask women what their symptoms are, everybody always starts off with that hot flash. It's just hot flashes. And people sleeping at night and waking up drenched, that's another. And I've rarely had the drenched of it all. But somebody told me, like one of my other friends, she's in her 60s, and she walks around with the fan. And she still talks about how she just gets a flash, and she said she has to like undress. So, she works at the school. She's not a teacher, but she's like a mentor, and she works at our high school. And she said she'll go in the bathroom and just like, she got to, cool herself off, pat herself dry. And it's just a thing she's still going through. And I never asked her what treatments was she on, but now I want to know. If she
sounds like she needs some. Sounds like she's not got any. Maybe
I know,
there's a treatment available.
So, and I don't know if against it or what, but so I do want to ask her about it. And I actually called her the other day, and we were playing phone tag to kind of tell her about my story and my journey, but because she just stands out to me as like carrying that fan, and she's always hot. And she
don't have to suffer, right? We don't have to suffer with symptoms. There is hormone there's things that can help you that have been proven safe and effective. And if anything in this whole GLP-1 journey has taught me that not to be afraid of medications, not to be afraid of science, right? Because we have these medicines, we have these things available to us, and so many people fight taking a GLP-1. I talked to a guy today, 50 pounds overweight. He has sleep apnea. I said, you need Zepbound. He goes, oh no, I'm going to try everything else first. Why?
Yeah.
But why? Because this works. So I just don't think everybody knows that, that there is help.
It's the stigma.
Yeah. And Lorraine, go ahead, Taisha.
Oh no, that's all I was saying. That it's just the stigma. It's the stigma, right? Like, let's do it the natural way, or I don't know. It's just it's a stigma, and so
it's a stigma, and I also think for some people it's not wanting to fail and not wanting to say, I can't do this myself. Some people want to prove that they are strong. I'm strong. I didn't need a GLP-1. I'm strong. I'm going to white knuckle it and, through menopause and, that type of thing. So
through menopause. Oh, so like even like with the whole weight loss conversation, do you think that applies to menopause for some women? Like, oh, I don't need the hormones. I can power through.
Yes, I do.
I think so.
And then the 4 studies that were done, that the study that was done, that's been debunked already.
Right.
People are still holding on to that. And then they trust their doctors. So if you have a doctor that you trust, you
Right.
haven't heard anything from anyone else, and this doctor tells you you don't need this, you're going to trust the person who went to medical school, right?
Well, it's
That's
same
right. Yeah.
with
Well,
same
I'm
with the
saying, like,
GLP-1s. A lot of
I think
doctors
that's
don't.
why.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's some
Yeah.
doctors that will
Yeah.
not prescribe those either.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
right.
let
And
me
this is shined a light.
I agree. But
Sorry.
let me just say, because I like to give a different perspective too. I also think for so long, it was always the next big thing that was helping you with your weight loss, a fat burner, a this, a that. And everybody would jump on that bandwagon, and it was great until it wasn't. So I think some people are hesitant because they're waiting to see. And, a lot of my family and friends said that too. Like, wait some more and see if people are dropping like flies.
But those were supplements.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The fat
Yeah.
burners, whatever.
Yeah,
what was
I've
that stuff
spent
called? Those are supplements.
hundreds,
Well, it
thousands.
doesn't matter. The message was out there, though, that, okay, you're taking these things. And I've known people. And one thing I will say, I have never, ever taken a supplement to lose weight or anything to lose weight. The only thing I've done is go to Weight Watchers, no fat burners, no any of that. But people have done it. And I've seen people take those fat burners and all that and lose weight. But they were doing it for like a wedding, My cousin did it for her wedding. Some people did it for other things. Lorraine is raising her hand.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I've always worried about like my heartbeat move, going up so fast and, all those things. But I know so many people that have tried everything.
Right.
And so for them, this is not another fad thing for some people. And I think we have to prove that it's not. And that's just what I'm trying to do over here on my channel. I really don't care what people think. I don't care if they're afraid to do it or not. I think the facts are the facts. But we were talking about, sometimes when you're doing something, you can't understand why other people just don't think it's so great. Well, there are reasons why people just don't think it's so great. And just like with anything else, science comes out, the people debunk the science, just like we say GLP-1s are so great. There's so many channels talking about how it's not, right? And how you're just going to gain the weight back. These are like educated doctors and scientists. You're just going to gain the weight back. And I think we have to be the ones to, prove that wrong. And I think we will be the ones to prove that wrong. And eventually, it'll be what it'll be. I'm into this like 18 months now. Some people thought I would be in the hospital by now taking these GLP-1s
Oh,
because they
girl.
just like, there's no way that you're going to make it. This is not long term. So I'm just here for the long term of it all. But I do think that I do understand. It's always the next big, great thing that comes along. And, I think once people understand the science, and I guess when I came into it, that's why I'm on there trying to educate people and not just talking about I'm losing weight. I'm trying to educate people on women's health issues and all things that are going on with our body. And even though I'm not on the treatment, it was just, with, my hormones and all that, it's like I knew I had that going on and I wanted to talk about it. So that's just, I'm just telling you from perspective of friends that are educated. And, they're educated, they're smart, but they're still leery about this GLP-1.
But look what's out there. Look at all the information. Look at the content creators, right? On all spaces. I'm not talking about just YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. And they're not making these lifestyle changes, right? Because for people who are not in this world, they think all they have to do is take a shot and that's it. And that's the problem. Even on Lilly, I don't know about Novo Nordisk, but Lilly's website tells you that you need to make lifestyle changes, right? We need to have a healthier diet. We need to be honest about that, right? A healthier diet doesn't mean you have to eat clean 100% of the time, healthier than you were eating before you got on this medication. And you need to move your body. There are so many people who want to prove otherwise. I don't have to do that. And they're losing weight because they're not eating enough food, right? They're not eating enough. They're not getting the proper nutrients. And I think when someone is on the outside, they're not in this space, they're looking at that because those people are the loudest, right? A lot of people have come off.
They're the loudest.
People come off and they didn't make any lifestyle changes or work on that inner stuff. And they do gain the weight back. The studies do show that people gain their weight back and then some. I was one of those people on Wegovy, but I didn't make any lifestyle changes. So I think it's hard. I think it's hard because there's just so much. The internet is great.
Yeah.
But it just depends on what section you're in.
Well, and it's a health journey, right? I mean, I've been in it for weight. I was always in it for weight loss. Health. My health is fine. I've always been healthy. That's I'm fine, right? My numbers are all good. It's fine. I just want to lose weight. But now, as I get older, and I, have gone through menopause, and I have maybe some other issues, I'm like, yeah, I really need to fine tune some things here, right? So, whole foods, exercise, and I always exercised before because I was.
You have that down, Lorraine.
I'm always trying to lose weight. I've been doing Weight Watchers, since 1985. So I always knew what foods I was supposed to eat. I just wasn't all the time eating them necessarily because my brain was telling me to eat donuts and cake, and all the other things, right? So I think, lifestyle changes are important, but you don't have to do everything all at once, right? Nope. For somebody who is maybe severely overweight, maybe just taking the shot is all they can manage, is all they can handle. But, and then incrementally, then maybe you think about looking at protein more. And then maybe you think about maybe taking a few more steps or taking a walk. You know what I mean? So people get overwhelmed with making all the changes all at once, but it can be as simple as Christopher says, just take your shot. That's my husband. Just take your shot, which I always like, oh, that's dumb. You have to do all the things. Well, some people can't do all the things. Nobody can do all the things that
and I'm not meaning that. Oh, go ahead, Mel.
Yeah, I was going to say, we saw Jamie Seltzer, and I think Christopher did an interview with him. What stuck with me was that in his tremendous journey, I don't know, he touched me. That touched me. I liked, Christopher had asked him something, and he stood and he said, well, he was talking about his movement, and Christopher was asking him kind of like, what did you do once you took the shot? And he said, I just stood up.
Yep.
Right.
I stood up. And so I applaud him for that. And that goes to the incremental changes that you talked about, Lorraine. Yeah. I do think we are getting to a point, where the voices that are the loudest are the voices that are saying diet culture. It's almost like reverse diet culture. And if you
little bit
speak about lifestyle changes, all of a sudden you're the enemy. It's like, enemy, you don't need to. It's like, calm down,
they are
relax your nerves.
Yeah, they are important, but you can go a little bit at a time.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't have to do all the things.
Yeah,
that's right.
You do something. You got to do something.
I agree.
I agree with Lorraine. Someone who's slow and steady, and you too, Taisha and Mel. I agree with that too. But I do think of the people that this is like, if you've struggled with weight for so long, like even as a child, I was chubby. I don't have the luxury of being like how my daughter is, like easy breezy. I was always a chubby girl growing up, and it was always about lose weight. If you hear that for so long, and then you get, and people think like if they say that, that's going to motivate you. So now some people it does, right? They motivate them to like, buckle down and lose it. And I've had those stages, but I've always just continued, gain. So if you have been someone who has done that for so long, it's like, you're not just gonna, some people may have, but for me, I'm gonna just say for me, I didn't just take that injection and it was like, okay, I don't ever want to eat cake and cookies again, or okay, I don't ever want to do it.
Time to work out.
Yeah, it's time to get moving. Now one thing I don't like cardio. So I said, if I'm not going to do cardio, I got to do some strength training. So I was, with it enough to do little things, but not in the gym, just kind of like at my house, even though I kind of like I have a home gym here, but doing things at my house. But for me, it just kind of like, no, my doctor didn't say like, oh, you need to eat this, you need to eat that, you need to focus on protein. She just said, your appetite will be reduced. You're not going to eat as much. And something told me, well, it's just, my knowledge of going to Weight Watchers for years. And then I teach health to kids at school. I know that food pyramid in and out, and they changed it since then. I even know the new one. But
that's
so I knew I needed to be tracking my calories, and I was at that. Where you go on TDEE, the TDEE website, the calories are outrageous. You're like, I can eat 2,400 calories, and then you put yourself in that 500 calorie deficit. You know, I could have been eating more than 1,800, but I was like, okay, I'm not gonna go over 1,800. I thought for some reason 2,000 sounded like a lot. But I was eating, but I was eating all things within that 1,800. So I was one of the people who was doing that. But then I started looking around thinking like, geez, oh man, like other people started in February like me, and they're like 60 pounds down and I'm 30 pounds down. And it was like, I said to myself, like, why is that, self? And myself said back, because you're eating, you're not doing the cardio they're doing. And you're at that time, now we know now I was menopausal, perimenopausal, and having all these symptoms. So I had all these things going on. And even if I want to say this, if nothing else is clear today, you could even be taking a GLP-1, and that menopause and perimenopause is a powerful thing. It's going to be harder for you, especially me being a diabetic, to make that needle move than somebody who doesn't have that stuff going on. It is harder.
The type 2 is what got you.
Yeah, and so I didn't understand all that, and then I started researching, and then that's what made me say, when I go live and start going live, I want to talk about women's health, because I was experiencing it and researching it and figuring it out. And that's what made me say I need to not just eat everything in moderation, eat those things as like a treat, like, you know, on Sunday. And I picked the day Sunday because my daughter has gymnastics, to go there with her, and we get like a treat. And I cut out the DoorDash. Now I cut that out when I took my first injection. But eating out so much, you know, my daughter was wondering, like, where is the guy that delivers the food? Like he was, you know, going out to eat. I mean, she's still asking that, you know, and it's just like, I told her, I said, well, you know, I'm making changes, you know, we're going to eat healthier and all of that. So, but I'm just saying, for somebody, and I consider myself highly motivated and highly educated. And for somebody like me, it was just a process. So that's why I say you got to give some people grace. And, you know, I have trauma and things going on, but not to the degree of some people I'm hearing from. You know, when you have all of that going on, it's not just as easy as you took this medication and now let it, you know, work for you and do all the things. For some people who like me, you know, who was eating out every single day, maybe to be eating out 1 day or 2 days a week is a change for them. So let's embrace that. For somebody,
okay.
Wait. I'm gonna let me finish.
She's dying to say her famous line.
I don't know why everybody feels attacked when someone.
No, it's not attacked. There's no attacking. It's just explaining. So I'm just saying, for somebody who was eating, that's why we hear in the chat, and we see in the chat, or we hear different content creators. I think people think where I came from, this is great, right? This is great, because I know I was eating 2 whole pizzas. Now I'm eating a slice or 2. So I think when you're coming from that mindset, now that's not me. I was not eating a whole pizza.
I could eat a whole pizza. That's the thing. I was doing that.
Yeah. So, but I'm saying, for some people, they feel like, okay, this is great, because I went from eating a whole pizza or 2 whole pizzas to like 1 slice. And so I think that eventually they probably will get to that point. So, because I'm going to use myself, because it's safe when I talk about myself. So I'm going to get to the point where I'm going to get ice cream from my daughter that I don't even get a little ice cream. You know, I was getting 2 scoops in a waffle cone, and I like the waffle cone because it could hold more ice cream. So I went from doing that to like getting a little kitty scoop. And getting a lot of times I get a vegan flavor. And so for me, that's improvement. Now I'll get to the point where I don't eat at all. You know, I may get to that point. And so that's what I'm saying. It's a process for some people. For some people, it's not like, okay, I'm going to cut everything out and I'm focused until I reach my goal. For some people, it's like they're cutting back. Now, what I do think is that I'm going to tell people, I'm eating the ice cream because I need to. If you cannot eat the ice cream, don't eat the ice cream. You know, if you don't need that one day where, if you don't have an 8-year-old that wants ice cream, don't go out and do it. Because I want people to always do what's, you know, the best thing they can do for their health, right? So I'm not going to say, oh, everybody, let's go out and eat cake. Let's go get ice cream. I don't think that everybody should be doing that, but for where I'm at right now on my journey, this is what I'm doing, and this is how it fits into my lifestyle. So I don't ever feel attacked. I guess when you're confident in what you're doing and how you're doing things, I don't really ever feel attacked because I think you're not talking to me. Yeah, it's not about me. And I realize some people aren't like that. I realize some people probably do feel maybe they're attacked for whatever reason.
Why?
I don't know. I guess people feel like that because, they feel like this is the best I'm doing and this is the best I can give right now. And that's what I'm thinking. I don't know.
No one said not to eat ice cream, though. Who said that? Who said that everybody, when have I ever said, or when has Mel, or none of us have ever said, you're not allowed to eat these things or you have to be 100% plant-based. I see somebody in the comments said, thank you, Lorraine, for not judging. Nobody is judging, but you know yourself. If you're someone who can't eat one, then don't eat it at all, right? That doesn't make sense. If I like cookie dough, I could eat a whole thing of cookie dough, and I was doing that every single day. So obviously, when I started this medication, I'm not going to do that. That's what doesn't make sense to me. If you can stay in moderation, then go for it. I have always said that. I've never said that anyone else has to do whole food plant-based. I did that for me. That was what was best for me. I don't force being a vegan on anybody. Eat all the meat you want. What I'm saying is, if you have a food that is a weakness for you, if there are certain snacks where you overindulge in them regularly, then you shouldn't eat them at all. Because
I don't bring it into
there's no middle ground. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying you can't have snacks. Right. My peanut butter bowl, that's my snack every day. That's 750 calories. Okay, I can eat that. I'm not diabetic. I can eat carbs. I'm not. So it just gets a little frustrating on my end when people say that they're being judged. It's not a judgment. This is
no, and yes, I love your style of eating, Taisha, because that's what works for you, right?
For me, that's it. And I don't push it on anybody else.
You're posting it, like you're giving people like all of these great ideas. And I think that's amazing.
But it's not a place of judgment. I'm not judging people that do the opposite. But if you're on and you're complaining that you're not making progress, but you're still eating these things, you're not moving your body. I'm not talking about somebody that's 600-700 pounds or someone who has been sedentary. They got to work with what they can. I'm not talking about that. I should make sure that I'm not making an overgeneralization when I make these statements. You have to work, you have to do what you can for yourself. But some of us, we need to keep it 100, right? Some people are trying to eat the same exact way they did before, and they're not making changes. And then they make the medication look bad. It's not the medication.
Make the medication look bad.
So yes, if you were eating a whole pizza and now you're just doing 2 slices.
Tell me more about how they're making the medication look bad.
Well, they're saying it doesn't work. And it's like, well, what are you doing? Do you know what I mean? And that's not a place of judgment. Like, I want everybody to benefit. Everybody's goal is not to be skinny.
Right.
But your goal was to be skinny, correct?
Yes, it was.
Right. And there are other people with that same goal. So their motives are different.
Right.
So that's it. We all have different reasons for taking this, and there's no judgment anyway. So when I see that, I get a little triggered because it's like, I'm not judging anybody. I'm making.
Okay, I'm glad you clarified that because I was like, what are you talking? I'm like,
no. It was a comment.
I didn't see the comment in the chat.
Yeah.
I think this is a good conversation to have though, because I just think, one thing we have to remember is even within our GLP-1, community, is diversity of thought, right? You're going to have your people who say, and Mel has said this. Now, Mel, you can speak up for yourself, but Mel and then Round Mounds of Zepbound said the other day, and I interviewed Yolanda, I interviewed him, and Mel is coming. But these people said, and I interviewed Taisha, but Taisha's here to speak for herself. They said, I was so focused on my goal. I think I told Mel this, like that stood out to me. These people that I would consider where I want to be one day. And they said, I was so focused on my goal. Round Mound of Zepbound said, I didn't eat a donut until I hit my goal. Like, that is not me. But guess what? I admire that. I love that about him. And I'm thinking maybe one day it'll be me.
Yeah.
maybe one day I'll get to the point where I'm like, I'm not doing a thing. Now, when I was trying to hit that 50 pounds, I cut out a lot of, even the little thing I was doing with my daughter on Sundays, I was even scaling that back because I had a goal and I wanted to reach it. So I just think, do what's for you, and what, watching these content creators, take what you need and what you don't need, and you don't soak it in. That's what I do. When I watch people, I'm my own person. I think for myself. I see people I admire around my own, but guess what? I'm not doing that. I'm going to have a donut before I get to my goal. I mean, that's just me.
I love donuts.
Sorry. Now, am I going to overindulge? No. If you guys know my story, I buy donuts for the kids in my class. Every month, I get it for the month, and I used to get a donut or two on that, picking up donuts for them. Since I started this journey, I have not gotten a donut for myself there. So I give myself a lot of credit for that. To me, that is huge. That's huge. And I still buy an extra one for my little teammate. I get it for him, but I don't do that for myself. So for me, that's like a huge goal. But if I were to do it, I'm okay. I'm going to give myself grace. What if I break down one day and say, I just got to have that donut? I'm going to give myself grace, because that's not something I'm doing all the time. And I think that's kind of what Mel was saying when we did this live the other day. She said, I think you should do a focus until you get to your goal, and then you add things in moderation after you reach your goal. Be on the straight and narrow. And it's okay that she thinks that. I mean, that's not what.
That's just for me. Yeah, that's just for me. And I think it does go back to, we have to respect one another's journeys. There are people that are going to do things differently. And my big thing is that I'm going to stand 10 toes down on what I did. It worked for me. And the best way that I can get my message across and hope that people who may be struggling to meet their goal, that they come over here and try something different. The best way I can, really generate interest in that and help move that forward is to live by example and live a healthy life in my 50s, looking and feeling good, living a soft life. And that's how I am going to demonstrate what I believe to be the best way to do it, the healthy way to do it. But that is not judgment. And we need to make sure that we create space, not just for those who say, oh, there's, not everybody's, okay, that's fine. But let's not turn and flip, and let's not end up in a space where people who were bullied now become the bullies, because everything's diet culture. Everything is not, making lifestyle changes is not freaking diet culture. It's smart. And it's okay for it to be smart. Two things can be true at the same time. There can be people that need to make incremental steps, and there can be those that are abusing the opportunity to take these peptides, because we don't know what this administration or the health insurance company lobbyist is going to do on Capitol Hill. There was a story out, I know the Downsides touched on it, Charles touched on it, where they're trying to limit how long people can be on these peptides. Then what? No lifestyle changes. I'm going to eat what I want to eat. And I'm just saying, for me, it's more, I'm concerned for people in the community who don't take this opportunity seriously. However, I respect them. I really do. I respect their choice, and they have to respect mine.
Yes.
That's it.
It's not coming. I want to drill that in.
But Dee heard all this.
It's not a
Dee get tired of it.
I'm sorry, Dee. It's just, I think it's important to say that, because that's how I took it. I could be, you guys know, I could be a little sensitive, but it's not coming from a place of judgment. And I'm not one that ever said you can't have snacks. I never said that. I'm saying, if you can't do moderation, which your girl, moderation, listen, that was not something I was good at. So for me, I had to cut those things out, because I didn't have a history of doing things in moderation. And that's all I'm saying. If you're also a person who has a hard time with moderation, don't tempt yourself. And then it's still not attacking you if you do. Just know that these foods were designed. They're designed to make you keep wanting them. That's a whole separate topic.
Highly processed.
Well, I'm going to tell you guys something that turned me off from some of the channels is, and I feel like it's turning, because, and I've been saying this before, Mel mentioned that, but when I first started taking the GLP-1s, I was saying I want to get off of the medication. My goal was not to be on it. And I had people in my comments, I'm hearing different content creators say, why would you ever want to get on it? Why would you get off of it? Why would you want to get off of it? And so now I feel like the tide is turning. So I've also felt like people are saying, more people are open to the fact that maybe you do want to get off of it. Like, what medication do we encourage people to stay on forever? Nobody says take blood pressure medication forever. But your goal is, though, Lorraine, is to get off. The doctor will tell you to stay on it forever, but your goal should not be to stay on it. Once you get on it, they say that about blood pressure, high blood pressure, but I know people who've gotten off of high blood pressure without a GLP-1. They totally changed their lifestyle and they were able to get off.
There it is.
Yeah, if you're able to lose weight without a GLP-1, then yeah, you can get off of
it. So that's why when I came into it, I thought, I'm going to count my calories. I'm going to eat in moderation. I'm going to do what I think I would do if I was off of it to get on it. But so I've since changed that. But I'm saying because I've changed it, I still don't want to hear people telling people, why are you ever want to get off? Because they want to. Let people have freedom of thought.
Let them do it. Let them. Samil Robbins.
And then they may be bad. They may be bad. But for me, it's not the weight loss of it all. I feel like it's, I feel like once I start taking these meds and the inflammation comes back, like that was the biggest change I noticed right away. Like I could jet up those stairs and not feel like, geez, oh man. And the steps, I have like a split level home, and my steps are like 5 or 6 steps up and 5 or 6 steps down. Those 5 or 6 steps, I was dreading going up and down the steps. Now, that first week when I took that, I was like running up the steps almost, and that changed me. That made me think like, so as I'm going on this journey, I'm thinking to myself like, I may have to stay on just for that, the inflammation of it all. But I think we have to be open to people having a diversity of thought and changing over time, right? You should be free to change your mind. I always say, you just never know. I might change my mind tomorrow. I might be around here. You never know what I might be doing. I might be taking 12.5 and 15. I'm just joking, but I'm saying, you never know what I'm going to do. So I say, so people have a right to change their mind. So if people are saying they want to get off, I say, let them get off, and then they may be back. Maybe they won't. Maybe you'll be part of that 15% that won't need to be on it. Now people are microdosing. They're taking this. People are doing all kind of creative things that I don't see on Eli Lilly's website. And I'm good with that, because if you talk to your doctor, but for me, I just want to follow what they say. Because if I end up in the hospital or sick or something like that, I want to be able to say, I follow Eli Lilly's guidelines and I'm suing because I'm still in the hospital. I don't want to be like, well, you were on 15 today and last week you were on 10 and 2 weeks ago you were on 7.5. Like, I just kind of am like, I want to kind of follow the direction of it. But yeah, let's just be open to diversity of thought. If you want to get a DEXA scan, get a DEXA scan. If you don't want to, don't get one. I mean, I just don't care.
So can we?
I think you should do it.
So can we not ask the question though? Like, do you not? Okay. Is it unreasonable if somebody is on 15 milligrams and they are struggling and they say they want to come off? I don't understand that. I don't have to understand that, but that's wrong to ask. Why do you want to get off? Because if you are on 15 and you're struggling,
what's the issue? What are you
coming off of it? What is that going to do for you? Do you understand what I'm saying?
That's the first thing.
But it is their right. I wouldn't make anyone feel bad, but I think we should.
You're saying if they're taking 15 milligrams and they say I'm getting off of the medication, well, they probably think because it's not. They probably think it's not working for them. Is what I would guess.
When they get to their goal weight.
So you said they are at their goal weight?
No, they're saying, I have seen a variety of people say when they get to their goal weight, they're coming off the medication. If you're struggling now on the medication, why are you coming off of it? If it's a financial thing or you just don't want to be on it, cool. But I am curious to know why. You don't want to have to depend on it. Well, it helps you get to wherever you're trying to go. So
how do you know they're struggling? They said they were struggling.
Yes, there's different people who are complaining about struggling and weight not moving as fast as they want. And they're not making lifestyle changes, but the goal is to come off whenever they get to their goal weight. I'm not going to call out names. I'm just, yes, I see that.
No,
I
I
see
wouldn't
that a
expect
Who
lot.
is this Taisha? I will have them on my show tomorrow and set the
Yeah, I just
know
was
what they
wondering.
should go on.
2.5 hours.
I don't remember seeing people say. I hear people say they want to come off, but I don't hear them saying they were struggling, they are not losing, and this and that, and they still want to come off. So yeah, I would be asking with that too. Like, okay,
Okay.
But if somebody just wanted to, if somebody's goal, when I started out, let's use Yolanda, because she was on my channel saying her starting goal was to get off. And she said she wished she had that goal before, like, this is my start. Like, I'm starting with the goal in mind that I'm getting off. And she's been off since May. She's been able to maintain it. And I wish I didn't have her and Charles to use as an example, because they're athletes, right? And I think that they train a certain kind of way. They're used to working out. They like working out. So I'm using them because they have recently talked about this. But, I think if people say they want to get off and they aren't, that's their goal when they start, I think that's okay. And I think if I was paying $1,000, $500, I would be still on here saying my goal is to get off, just because I don't think I can afford to pay for that. So I'm somebody who's on insurance, that my cost is very low. So I would have to be looking at other options. And then here I'm about to retire too. So I just say, people who say they're going to be on forever, I've been saying this from day one. You never know what's going to happen with these insurance companies. You never know what's going to happen with, they could come out tomorrow and say the medication, no one can get it. It's on a freeze. It's on a hold. I mean, any of that can happen. We just don't know. And
Right.
so for me, I always think like, I want to be prepared. I want to be prepared with the worst case scenario and not the worst case scenario. So the worst case scenario is I come off and I gain it all back. Well, I've been there, done that. My health markers are always pretty much maintained. Now, do I want to be a type 2 diabetic? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But there are still some other options that I never thought about exploring if something happens and these medications were just out the window. But I do think you have to think about that. I think to say to me, and I'm not a fan of medication, but I think to be on, and I'm only on Mounjaro, and before that, I've only taken birth control pill. I'm not somebody who is taking medicines for this, that, and the other. And I have to say to myself, am I going to want to be on this for the rest of my life? No, but the reality of it is I could possibly be. So if they go, then what am I going to do? Well, luckily for me, I've been counting my calories. I'm working out. I can afford, possibly a personal trainer. So I would just have to do those things. I would just have to be a overweight, but active person. That's just what I'll be. And I am okay with that. I just think that this stuff it's serious, but at the same time, it's like, let's just all do what you do. Do what's good for you. We put the information out there. Some of us want to teach one, each one teach one. We want to teach you things and, soak it in, take what you can. If you can't, don't take it. If you want to tell people to stay on it forever, I'm okay with that too. Like, to me, it's just like it reminds me of the person who says, Shay, you look so good now. Now, to me, I'm like, thank you. I appreciate that.
Before?
Are you
people I was fat before?
There are people who say, well, what did I look like before? Like, and people really internalize that. So I'm saying I'm sensitive to those people that internalize it. But for Shay, I'm thinking, thank you, because I don't think I was looking so hot before. That is me. Everybody, I guess it's not me. And so I'm thinking of like, okay, how is this person going to take it? How is that person going to take it? And it's a matter of who you are and your experiences and how people have, grown and developed over time. And I will say, even being a bigger person, I've always been confident. So I'm confident in what I'm doing. I could be with a group of people and be confident. I could be by myself and be confident. And a lot of people aren't like that. Some people need a group and a choir, and some people are afraid to do things on their own. So I think we have to realize when we're out here on this platform that we're trying to reach all these different people, or not. And my goal is to try to reach all these different people, and maybe they can take one snippet of what I say and they can use it. If it turns you off that I'm eating in moderation, sorry, but that's just what I'm doing. If it
Right.
turns you off that sometimes I'm thinking I might be a vegan I felt good and I haven't just done it on this GLP-1. It's been times in my life where I gave up meat and I felt so much better. If that turns you off, I'm sorry, that's what I'm doing. It's just like this. I'm living my life. I'm just living my life, this part of it on YouTube. And, it's like, if you like it, great. If not, great. Am I going to be watching these content creators, though, that's, telling people to eat this and eat that and still eat? That's not going to appeal to me because I'm not even doing that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I just think you got to take it. Take it for what it's worth.
And I think to your point, I think, all journeys are so personal. Right? Mine doesn't look like Shay's, doesn't look like Mel B's, doesn't look like Taisha's, and that's okay. And maybe I'm staying on this forever, and maybe you're not staying on this forever, and that's okay because I've decided that's what's going to work for me, and you've decided what's going to work for you. And like Taisha says, I'm waiting for you to say this, Taisha. Been waiting for you.
We can share our journeys, but we should never compare them.
Yes.
And we should be able to ask questions too without people feeling attacked. That's it.
Yeah. Everybody's going to go through this differently. Everybody's going to find their medication level that works for them differently. Everybody's going to find foods that work for them differently. If you told me, girl, you can't have any donuts until you lose 50 pounds, peace. No, like if you tell me can't have something, that's the first thing that I want. So along this journey, my eating has not been I don't tell people what I eat. I don't do what I eat in a day because it's not that great. I mean, honestly, I am not the example that you would want to follow, right? And that's okay. That's my journey. That's how I've gotten to this point. And believe me, before GLP-1s, I did all the things all the time. And I still had that in my brain saying, eat. And there was nothing turning that off. And now it's turned off or turned down. Right. So, and another interesting point I wanted to make is I was talking to Dr. Leslie Golden. And I interviewed her the other day. That'll be on next week. And she was talking about how she compared people with obesity to people who have overactive bladder. Overactive bladder, you say? People with overactive bladder get the signal in their brain or wherever the signal that they have to go to the bathroom, that they have to empty their bladder constantly or more than other people do, right? So they give them a medication and it quiets that signal to where now they're only emptying their bladder at regular intervals. Well, she compared that to a GLP-1. So people with obesity, our brains are telling us eat. We take the GLP-1, that signal is now dampened. And so we don't want to eat all the time. Like the person with the overactive bladder doesn't want to go to the bathroom all the time. But nobody's going to stigmatize somebody with overactive bladder. No. Nobody's going to say to them, you should really come off that medication at some point. You should really learn to control your bathroom habits. Maybe you should do this, and this. And maybe eventually you could come off that medication. Nobody's going to tell that to somebody with an overactive bladder. So think about that.
But yes, people should have the choice and they should feel comfortable with that. So again, asking those questions, I just want people to think about what they're doing and why they're doing it. Don't feel pressured because the masses are doing this, so I have to do this. If you want to do it because you just don't want to be on meds, then go for it. But if you're doing it because you think that's what you're supposed to say, because you don't want to have to say that you needed a little bit of help, who cares what other people think? Who cares?
I don't care.
I think it's valid either way.
Have y'all seen that lady, the We Do Not Care Club?
We do
not care.
We do not care.
That you need blah.
Love it.
I do care. I think I care too much.
Yeah.
All right,
Love it.
let's go to the chat. We do have some questions,
Oh,
ladies.
yes.
Okay, here we go. Is there an optimal, this is San. Hey, San, is there an optimal dosage for the estradiol patch? I just started on patch 0.25 dosage with 100 milligrams of progesterone. Mel B, I'm going to let you handle that question because we talked about this before the live.
Yeah, well, I will tell you this. Now, when you're talking about dosage, I actually had a recent issue. I had my hormone panels done about a month and a half ago. No, about a month ago. And my dose that I was taking of Evimis, and I'm going to run and get it in a minute so I can show you guys that application. My two fellow patch users, I want to show it to you guys and Dee Dee. But I was actually taking 2 sprays. You could take up to 3. The one spray is 1.52 milliliter or whatever it is. And then I was taking 2 because that's what we thought I needed. Well, guess what? And Dee Dee has seen this because I sent her a screenshot. I go back, my doctor comes in and she's like, I need to know what's going on. Are you okay? And I'm like, what? Well, come to find out, my estradiol level was up to 523. Now, mind you, normal range for not normal, but the optimal range for somebody like us who's taking therapy is between 80 and on the high end 150. That's my doctor, but the average is about 80 to 120. I'm at 523, like I'm a pubescent teenager. I'm like, what in the holy?
Let me interrupt you here because when Mel was telling me this, I said, Mel, she's like, yeah, we can't figure out why, why estrogen was this. I said, Mel, you're doing all the things, like literally what they will tell you to do for menopause and for your hormones. She's getting the treatment, right? She's getting the BHRT. She's also incorporated lifestyle changes. I see what she's eating. She's eating very clean and healthy. And then the number 3 thing you can do, and her and I, we might be neck and neck with this, with our supplements. I said I don't take medication, but I have a supplement routine that's out of this world. And so I said, you're doing the 3 things that somebody would recommend. No wonder because if you don't opt for, and I do want to say this here, if you don't opt for the HRT or the BHRT, there are other things you can do. That's just not the end all be all. But if you really, that's what I said to Mel. I said, I don't know, Mel, when I said in my video that my hormones may never be optimized, that's why I said that. Because, my lifestyle, what I'm eating is not what she's eating. Now, one thing I am doing is the supplements, but I'm also not doing that treatment yet. So in my mind, I'm not going to be optimal. I'm just going to be hanging out there. So I will say, Mel is doing all the things. She really is doing all the things. And I think that kudos to you.
But I do bad. But excuse me, I do bad stuff too. I do.
It's not bad stuff
in
though.
moderation.
No, it's not bad. I eat protein. I like the Quest protein cookie, by the way. I know you and Christopher didn't like it, Lorraine. For some reason, you kind of do? Okay. So I do some stuff. I'm 80-20 sometimes, but I'm mostly 90-10. Nobody needs to be that way. This is my hobby. Don't have kids. Don't have pets. Soft life. I can do that. Everybody's journey is different. That's just what it is. I'm going to excuse myself and go get the thing because I want you guys to see.
Okay.
Can I answer? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I just pulled up on my CVS app, my dosage, because I'm like, I don't know what my dosage is for my patch. So it's a 0.05 milligram patch, but my progesterone is 200 milligrams. So I don't know. And they switched me, this pack, they just switched me to, I was on the estradiol. Yeah. And now I'm on something called Dotti, DOTTI.
Okay.
I don't know about that.
And I'm like, what is this dot? Because I have to get generic for my insurance. It's just
okay.
I guess whatever they have lying around. Oh, let's just give it to her. Sure, her insurance doesn't cover anything. She has to take what we give her. But this Dotti has the words on it. My other one was just clear, and now this dot, like I could show you my stomach, it has like the words on it. I preferred it when it was just clear. I was just wondering if anybody else has that and what to do about that.
This just says estradiol, 0.1 milligrams, and it has /day. So I don't know if that's how much it's releasing every day, but this dose has been optimal for me. I started off at 0.25, took that for 6 weeks. Then I went up to 0.50, 6 weeks. And when I went up to here, it alleviated those issues. So for me, the optimal dose is 0.1, but that's like Zepbound. It's going to depend on the person.
Well, and I've been on it now for over a year, and I'm wondering if, you know, time you move up in dose, like really.
Here's the I just wanted to show you guys this. This is, I know it looks kind of odd, but don't worry, it's so you take this off. And it's dosed differently than the patches, right? Because you guys change that patch twice a week. This is a daily spray, and you just take this and you just push it down. It's so easy. And I was taking 2 pumps a day when I was, because we thought that was good for me, but apparently my skin absorbs these hormones quicker, like than others. And that's why I was at 523 and should be.
You just spray on your
arm? No higher. Yes, you just spray it on your arm.
Gotcha. How long so it's very easy. Mel, how long would it if you were just doing the one spray?
About 60 days. And then about 60 days. And then like Taisha, I have the same gel. Just wanted to show you guys I have the same as her. And then her little mine is Vagifem. They're just different brand names. This is Vagifem. And just like Taisha, there's a little pill at one end and there's a little plunger, and you just put it up your vagina and it releases the little pill. I know.
Is it 10 micrograms?
Lorraine, you missed it. This is, yes, it is. 10 microgram estradiol vaginal insert. Yes, 10 microgram. So I love this. This is probably a forever. And then the testosterone is probably a forever. The estradiol depends on the safety profile and what we learn. But my plan, I have a 20-year plan for hormone replacement for myself. I will continue on estradiol and adjust as necessary, maybe in the next 8 to 10 years. I will continue. This has a very great safety profile, the microdose of testosterone. And this vaginal estrogen, oh my God, remember, so important, because as we age, if we get sick, one of the first things, that inflammation, UTI, urinary tract infection in women who are older. And a lot of times that turns to disease and sepsis. And some women end up perpetuating an illness and end up in the hospital because of UTIs as they age. It's everybody Google it, Gemini it, Chat GPT it. It's very, very common. So this is good for that.
She's saying all the names.
I was just looking in the chat, and they're all loving your term, soft light.
Soft life.
Soft life.
Yeah, man.
I just want to give a disclaimer before we continue that, this information is educational and informational purposes only and does not constitute medical advice. We need Chris here to nudge Lorraine. I say that. Please do your own research and always consult with a licensed healthcare provider or hormone specialist before you start, stop, or change any treatment. So in other words, don't see what these ladies are doing and run out and say, Simply Taisha told me to get that testosterone. No, she said this is what she does for her. And if you think that that's something that would appeal to you, I would definitely meet with your doctor. I see some people are talking about Mindy. I know that we have an alloy and other things that, that
alloy
offer where you could, get treatment. Even the Mindy, I saw something from Mindy. Is it Mindy? I saw something from them today, and I was thinking, has Google listened to me again?
Because Midi. The telehealth, Midi.
Yeah, they sent me something. I'm saying Mindy. I sound like I was saying Mindy, right?
Yeah, it sounded like you were saying May or Mindy. I'm like, what? No. Yeah.
And I was just thinking oh my gosh. So I'm gonna, just depend on what goes on with my doctor. But that will be an option for me to, look into those things. So we shall see. Okay, I'm trying to find more questions. So we have a question.
I was looking
Oh
at the chat.
no.
It says, thank you, Lorraine, for acknowledging that some people can't do all the things when starting their GLP-1 journey. We start where we are and work on improving ourselves. I appreciate, oh, this is the comment that I didn't know was up there, that you never judge. Okay. All right. And we're not judging. We just want to say we are not judging.
Not at all.
Let's see. Everyone comes to the light at their own pace, Carol, but we have to be mindful that there may be consequence to coming to the light slowly, slow and steady.
Yeah.
That mean?
Okay, people are saying we can't compare ourselves. Let's see.
Yes.
A Taisha, famous Taisha line. Say it, Taisha.
Dee Dee, I'm not sure what I said, but whatever I said, you are welcome. Question for each of you. Kate, our girl Kate.
Hey, I love your photo. She got the hair teased. Yes.
Louise. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Ooh la la. I love it, Kate. Kate, you are looking like a supermodel up in here.
Right?
For each of us, what were your fears, preconceived ideas about menopause as a younger woman? And now that you've experienced it, how is it the same or different than those thoughts? Excellent question, Lorraine. We're going to start with you. We're going to go to Mel. We're going to end with our girl, Taisha.
Menopause, that's old ladies. I don't have to worry about that till I'm an old lady. There's no old ladies around here. Like in this, and I hit age 50. And I'm like, when's this menopause thing going to kick in? Because there was like no end in sight for me. And then suddenly age, how old was I? 53. It just one day on a Tuesday, I was done. That was it forever. Who knew?
On a Tuesday.
I'd always heard once you it had to be 12 months from the date of your last menstrual period. You had it 12 months. And that was not the case for me. So I had my final period in December. And then I went to the doctor in March and she did my blood test and she said, oh, you're postmenopausal. And I said, but it's only been 3 months. I thought it had to be 12 months. And she goes, nope. So there's a myth debunked for you. That's all I got.
Okay, Mel, what were your preconceived notions or fears about it?
Well, I had a lot because I was in my 30s when I was thrust into a medically induced menopause. So I had a lot of fears. My biggest was that I wasn't going to be able to have children because remember, guys, I didn't have kids by that time, and I had never gotten pregnant. And we now know it was because of the fibroids, which really started to
get pregnant. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I think for me, that was probably the biggest fear. I even went so far as to freeze my eggs. Back then, it didn't cost 10,000+. It was less than that when I did it. But I'm not planning on having children is what I will say. But for me, that was the biggest fear. And in terms of preconceived ideas, I think preconceived for me was just like it's an old lady thing. And I don't feel like an old lady, right? But that's what we do when we're in our 30s. We're like 50, So that for me, that's it. Yeah.
I didn't have any. I honestly didn't think about it. It didn't first come into my mind until I had to get the hysterectomy, and I was given the option of having my ovaries stay or be removed. And so I said, well, what would be the benefit? And that's when he told me if he removed my ovaries, then I would go into menopause. And so I was like, well, we'll just keep the ovaries then. But I didn't think about it until, I didn't think about it again until Dee Dee's live stream about that. I know y'all are like, really, just get over it. But no, I just didn't think about it because really, like everyone else, I thought it was something when you're old. And I don't have experience with women that were complaining about that. Do you know what I mean? No one ever sat down and talked to me about that.
No.
So it wasn't even on my radar.
Yeah. No,
it wasn't on my radar.
Yeah. Like my mom never, I think when I was like 12, she gave me a book, said, here's all you need to know. Thanks, Mom. It's just, we just didn't talk about women stuff or any stuff. So, yeah.
My mom did the most. My mom was like, come on, girls, Sid, I want to know how you feel down there. Like, do you ever have this? We were like, oh my God, that was my mom. And ridiculous. But Bernice, I love you, Bernice. Mwah, mwah. But what I want to say is that one other thing to remind people of is that my mother was in the Women's Health Initiative.
That's
yeah.
right.
So in the 90s, yes. So
WHI.
yes, WHI. So I just thought I'd mention that. She's like, yeah, I remember when they wanted to take our estrogen from us. And we now know that has been debunked, mostly debunked. There's still guidelines and you still have to be careful. Just like when you're taking birth control pills, hashtag not a doctor, birth control pills actually have a lot more dangerous profile medically than, from what my doctor has told me, than estrogen therapy. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there. Okay.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
I will say my daughters know. I have 5 daughters. They're going to know.
Good.
They're not going, it's not going to be when they're in their 30s, 40s, 50s. So we're learning now and, we're going to do better. But no one talked to me about that, about menopause,
Yeah.
So. Yeah, no one talked to me either. And I always thought it was, when I was in my 30s, 50 sounded so far off. Because 50 sounded so older, much older. Now that I'm 50, it's like, it doesn't seem old at all, And, one thing I know for sure, and, I'm so conscious about what my daughter hears on these YouTube streets, but I'm going to say this out loud and maybe one day she'll catch this. But I want to stay juicy forever, if you know what I mean.
Yes, there you go. You go.
If these hormones are going to mess up with my juiciness, then I got to do something about it. I will say that. That is so funny. Allie says, Fit Flavor Fun says, is this the Beautiful Ladies Convention? Well,
hey, Allie,
you should have been joining us. You should have been on here.
Yes.
So let me find some more. I'm going to the questions, ladies. Yeah, Kate is just looking fabulous, right? Isn't she?
Yeah.
Trying to find some more questions. I just had to put that up there because you ladies do look. You can't hear that enough, right? That you look beautiful, because sometimes you doubt your own self.
I see one from Rita, but she may be gone.
What time is it?
8:14.
Oh, here, Allie says she had a hard time with moderation.
Oh, let me go up. Okay. Yeah, that was me.
Well, I always find if my medication level isn't correct, I don't, I always want to eat. Like I always want more. But the tirzepatide, helps me to maintain a normal amount of food. But if I get off, or if I miss a dose, or if yada yada, I could eat the whole bag of cookies, or the 5 slices of pizza, and then my stomach hurts.
That was me prior to Zepbound. That was me prior to Zepbound. It was bad.
Yeah, I thought this was an interesting comment. She says, Bellflower, Nicole, one point is you don't even want to be an enabler as a creator. Many of us lived with enablers when and while we were overweight or obese, which is why sustainable change is key if GLP-1 is not a fad diet. And so, and I guess that's what Mel and Taisha are kind of saying. Sometimes it comes off like these are just fad diets instead of a lifestyle change. And I guess if you're watching people that, perpetuate that or encourage that, and most of the people that I'm watching are tracking calories and that whole thing. And I tend to not watch because I don't, if somebody's not really doing that, because I kind of don't want to be falling into that. You know how you hear something over and over and over and then you believe it. And that's how it is. Sometimes you can talk yourself into things. We have a super chat, but before we go there, I just want to say this is how what you think can manifest itself. Because I haven't had a cycle since August 2nd of 2024. And when I got to this August 2nd of 2025, I went to the restroom and I thought, am I seeing something that looks like a cycle? I was like, I was so upset because I've had friends who said they got to that year and then that day they had a cycle and the doctor said, no, 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 you're technically not in menopause, which, you know, it's just kind of ridiculous to me. So I said to myself, self, is this really, what is this? And so I think in my mind, because I had wanted to avoid that and didn't want it to happen to me, I kind of manifested it, right? So
No.
I thought, this is why the power of thought and what you're taking in is so important, because if you're taking in the wrong things, you might kind of believe that, you know what I'm saying? So,
Hey, Dee Dee,
The super chat.
can I ask you a real quick question? Oh yeah, your super chat. After your super chat, Rita has a question, but cover your super chat. But Rita has a question that she wants answered. Yeah.
okay, and tell me what time it is too. That'll help me find it. But Jess says, I appreciate you having this panel, Dee Dee. To clarify, my thanks to Lorraine had nothing to do with anything. Taisha said it was a response to Lorraine's comment. I regret that it triggered Taisha. I meant only to thank Lorraine.
Oh.
All right. Thank you for clarifying that. We appreciate that. Let's give you a thank you. Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
I responded to her, by the way.
Okay.
She did not trigger me. When I saw that, it made me, because I have been called judgmental. So that wasn't just about you, Jess. It was seeing that, like, oh my gosh, here we go again. But you didn't trigger me. I am not upset with you.
Oh.
So let me clarify that. I have been called judgmental. So that's where that came from, Jess. Sorry if I made you feel
judgmental, Taisha. You know, and it's easy for us, you know, sometimes as content creators. Taisha's talking to her camera, I'm talking to my camera and to Christopher Durham, my husband, and Downsizing Diva is talking to her camera. So sometimes we get very like, you know, I have my certain beliefs that I want to say all the time, that I want everybody to hear. And I think that because I've said these things now 25 times, I believe everybody should hear them my way all the time. You know, and I'm just talking into the box, right? I'm talking into the box, and is anybody really listening? I don't know. Apparently they are. So we have to remember that, you know, everybody has a different way that they're doing this, and that's okay. Right?
Yeah.
You know,
Thank you guys for saying that.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that. I am a consumer of your content, so I have a different perspective, and I can have hey, I'm just out here in these YouTube streets, just throwing bombs. Like, you know, I can do that. No, I'm joking. I really can't. But Dee Dee, this question that Rita had, she felt like she was getting kind of, I don't know, negative comments, not from us, but from the chat. Do you want me to read it to you?
Well, tell me what the time is.
I don't know. I can't. For me, on my
I'll go back to
YouTube,
I
it.
don't see it.
It was the one I told you. Is that?
Yeah, it has 4 Qs.
Yeah.
Yes. What time?
I can read
Is
it.
gone?
I can read it too.
Michelle Frank, you're right. So, and I meant to say that. Let me really quick address. Okay, Downsizing Diva Shay. So if you've been without a cycle for a year and you see some bleeding, you should let your doctor know, because it could signal something else is wrong. And
I did. I talked to my doctor, but I think it was, like I said, I think it was in my mind. It's like, it was so faint. It wasn't, I don't even know if it was red. It was like a pinkish, but I think, was it really? I just think I had it in my mind, honestly. But yeah, I did share it with my doctor.
Okay.
And I haven't had that since then, you know, anything. I just think I really think it was in my mind. But thank you for saying that, because yeah, I would have been on it, calling my doctor. You know, I had a biopsy not too long ago before I started the GLP-1, because I thought I didn't know what was going on. Because when I didn't have a cycle for a long time, and then when I did, it was like I couldn't even go to work because it would have to change so often. So I'm one of those people, though. I am gonna go to the doctor if something's off. I will say that. But thank you for that, Lorraine, because somebody else needed to hear that.
Gina at Anchor Moments had mentioned that when we were on the cruise. Actually, she had that happen, and so she wanted to make sure that people knew about that. If you think you have transitioned into menopause and you do have bleeding, make sure you go to the doctor and
Yeah.
right away.
It can be breakthrough bleeding and, cysts and things. That's a good point.
Yeah.
All right, look at this beautiful lady here. She says, Nia, that was my goal to get off this wheel. Changed my mind. Still not sure about taking it forever, but I thought I was getting off when I hit my goal 6 months ago. Still going. Shot day on Monday. Shot.
Look at her picture. Nia, what's up?
Yes. Beautiful. Well, I agree. And I always say a lady has a right to change her mind.
Absolutely.
And really, I think the more you learn and grow, and one thing I want to say too is, I've, talked with Taisha and Mel, and, now here, Lorraine, I'm going to be texting her up a storm. And I'm so bad at keeping in touch with folks, let me tell you. But I will say, I think you got to have a diversity of thought. I don't always want people around that agree with everything I say. That's how you learn. That's how your mind stretches. That's how you grow.
Right.
I always say, if you think I'm smart, my friend group is even smarter. I learned how to surround myself with people that know much more than I do and that I can learn from. And so I think that's should be a goal for everybody. And certainly on these GLP-1 medications, we're here to learn, we're here to grow, and nobody has a perfect book because we're all different, right? So I think that's important. Now, Mel, did you find out where that
14.
I can. Oh, yeah. Taisha has it. I cannot see times.
Yeah, I can see it because I scrolled through the YouTube one, so it's at 8:14.
She said 9:14.
8:14.
8:14. Oh, okay. Oh, I was close to it. Okay, all right.
But she may be gone though. I think that she
Oh,
left.
here we go. Oh, does anybody know how GLP-1 affects people like me who was put in the medical menopause due to a hysterectomy 12 years ago? Could this be the reason I seem to be a slow responder, 21 pounds in 4 months? And you know what? Absolutely, that could be the reason. That could be one of the reasons that you are, going a little bit slower. Yes.
21 pounds in 4 months is not bad.
No, not to me at all either. I was going to say, I don't think that's slow at all. How many pounds per week is that?
I don't know, but it's
and I think
4 times 4 is 16.
Yeah.
16 weeks. So a half a pound to 2 pounds a week. She's right in the middle of
Right in the middle.
Yeah.
She had made a comment. She made a comment, ladies, and she said, because some people in the chat were saying the same thing to her, and she felt that it wasn't that people were judging her, because a lot of people in the chat were saying that's not slow.
Oh.
And so I think this is another good example of when we're in this space and we're talking, don't try your hardest. And I know it's hard, but don't take everything as an attack. Just, just pardon us and give us grace. And we need to give everybody grace as well. But I promise you, I know these people in this chat, and it wasn't meant that way, Rita. You're a beautiful lady. I hope you find what you want. But yeah, I think Michelle and everybody else's comments were just coming to let you know that you're actually doing well. So
yeah, she's doing great. She's doing great, right? And I think that's a lot of people, because they're comparing their journeys to other people, or they're wanting what they imagine fast weight loss should be, but really, you're doing great. You're doing a great job. You're doing, your speed of weight loss is right in there where it should be. We don't want to lose 3, 4, 5 pounds a week, because then your hair falls out and all kinds of bad things happen.
And it's probably muscle.
Consistent.
Well, and I would visit that Eli Lilly website. They talk about what a slow responder is, and it's not, for 21 pounds in 4 months. In 4 months, if you lost like maybe less than 5 pounds, you would be considered a slow responder. And actually, Rita, this is great news, because even when you start off very slow, they have learned with the studies that over time, people who don't really lose a lot at first, eventually they catch up with the people who are losing fast. So it kind of balances itself out. Some people, we have learned, they take off at the gate, right? It's like they're speed racing, they're going fast, they're dropping, and then eventually it levels off. And same thing is the opposite. People who start off really slow, eventually their weight loss picks up. So, we just want the message to be out there. We don't want people thinking that if you lost 21 pounds in 4 months, I don't want anybody thinking that that's not good enough, because actually it's great. It's great. So if you could get
absolutely.
that message, Rita, from this. I hope that helps you feel better. But you're not a slow responder, and that's why I call myself slow and steady. And people even challenge me on the slow and steady, and I say I'm slow and steady because I know week to week. This is an average, right? So when you average it out, it looks like it's 0.5 a week. But if I had lost every week I weighed in, I'd be jumping for joy right now. The reality of it is I have not lost every week I've weighed in. I've actually gained sometimes here and there. And I've actually had a lot of times where I just didn't lose at all. So that's why I consider myself slow and steady over time. And when I was, averaging one pound a week, people were like, yeah, you're not slow and steady. Now I'm under that 1 pound a week. And, and I'm okay with that. I'm still not a slow responder, though, because a slow responder wouldn't have lost 77 pounds by now. So I still am not that. So I am going to take that slow and steady and carry it like a badge.
Something else? Oh,
I think this is our, from my point of view, this is my lifestyle now, right? I'm taking my shot every week. I don't ever plan to go off, and that's just my personal point of view, and you guys can have your personal points of view. But there's going to be times when I have gained weight. There's going to be times when my weight is lower. There's going to be times when it just stays the same, and that's just kind of this journey of life now, because I'm using this medication as a tool to treat my chronic disease of obesity. So it's, it's going to be up and down, but there's no race. There's no, there's no finish line. There's no time frame. I used to always put time frames on myself. Oh, I have to lose 20 pounds by summer. I have to lose 30 pounds for that class reunion. There's no timelines on this now, because this is just my
I like that.
I like that too. But I'm a person that I have to give myself a target. I'm a goal setter. And
when I was losing on the GLP-1, when I was losing, you better believe I was calculating how many weeks.
A spreadsheet.
How many, what's my average weight loss per week? I lost 1.58 pounds per week to lose my weight. And it's, I get it. I was like that my whole life up to now. So it's just taking some time to kind of wrap my head around that whole thing.
I think
once I get to my 100 pounds down, I'm not going to be getting on the scale and reporting it every week, because I think I just want it to become a lifestyle. In a lifestyle, I'm not going to be doing that, right? I'm not going to be getting on, like, reporting out and this. Now I can change my mind. Who knows? But I think that once I get to that 100 pounds, I'll still have 51 more pounds to go. So I said 51. I got a goal in mind there. So I have 51 more pounds to go, and I want to sail into that. Whenever I get into that, I want to sail into it, and I don't want to feel the pressure too. But again, I could change my mind tomorrow. I don't know, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. Now, Lorraine, Jen said that Dottie is a generic name.
Oh yeah, she works in the.
That's
okay.
Yeah. So it's a generic, right? So I'm on generic. So they just gave me one generic instead of the other, but I kind of freaked out, because I'm like, is this going to work as well as my other one? And why do I have words on my stomach now where my patch is? Oh, can we ask? So thank you for that. Dottie is just a generic name. Where do you guys put your patch? Where do you put it on your body?
I put mine.
Where do you put yours?
Right. Can you see me right here? So
I
switch.
Too dark.
Like between your belly button and your hip kind of thing?
So I usually put it like, this is my hip.
Yeah.
So I have it either here
or
here. I just
alternate sides.
Okay.
So it's like the hip area.
Yeah, because I've put it kind of around my belly button. I put it lower, like if I'm in a bathing suit, well, I don't want it to show, right? So I'm like, should I put it on is it like the Zepbound shot where I got to put it on a fatty area? Does that matter?
I just have it like it.
Does anybody
I don't know how to describe it. I don't want her channel to get shut down. But I will tell you, it's just kind of like, so if I had a bikini on, you wouldn't see it.
You wouldn't see it. Okay.
Now, if it was like that string stuff, you would see it. But just or underwear, like even my underwear, you can't see it.
Yeah. Okay. And then how important is it? You know, like you have to rotate your shots, your Zepbound shots.
I just alternate left and right. I took it off the left this morning. Guys, forgot to put it back on because I was in a rush. So I'll put it on the right side tonight.
Okay.
Like when we get done, I'll put it on the right side.
Yeah.
So I just
And
alternate.
my spray,
Wait a minute.
my spray is the same thing, by the way. Alternate.
Allie. Yay! Thank you, Allie. Let's give her a thank you. Thank you for that. Appreciate you.
I like that stamp of approval.
Damn, thank you.
That's cool.
Well, I love that. I think I don't know. Did Rita leave out of the chat?
She left.
Now I'm going down.
Yeah, I
and seeing
think so.
comments. But we just want her to know again that we appreciate her coming in here, and really the comments were to be encouraging.
I'll email her.
Not to be making you feel any kind of way. So you're doing great. I love that. If you didn't, hopefully you got that out of this, that you're doing a great job.
I'm gonna send her this part. I have a question for you guys really quickly, right? So did you lose fast in the beginning, Lorraine? In the very beginning, like that first month?
I think my first week was 3 pounds. I think the first month I lost 6 pounds, and I'm like, it's like Weight Watchers. Okay.
Was your appetite like just diminished? Do you think that you dropped your calories a significant amount before? Because I wonder if that has something to do with it.
Oh yeah. Like that first month, because Christopher and I, my husband and I did it at the same time. We'd eat like 5 bites of dinner and be like, we're done. So, I probably was eating not a lot I was probably eating well under 1,000 calories a day, which you should not do. This was October of 2023, and nobody was telling me nothing about nothing. I was just like, I just can't physically eat. But I wasn't, and I was losing, 2-3 pounds a week at first.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, I guess it works.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I wonder if because there are some people who don't have that. They don't have that like right when they start taking it, and it takes kind of getting up and dose.
They have to go
have that. So maybe that's why, like I went from eating with some days, TJ, wasn't it 6,000? There were some days or more, like that was my enabler. 6,000 calories in a day. That's a lot.
Wow.
So to go from eating, let's say the average was 3,000 or 4,000.
Yeah.
To barely that is probably why it was
you dropped
so fast in the beginning. And it's not good. It's not good. I don't recommend that.
No. And really that's why you have to kind of get your dosing right. Right. So like for me, I didn't know that if the 2.5 is working, meaning
just stay, right?
Weight and your side effects are minimal, stay on the 2.5. I thought, month on 2.5, great. Now they told me to go up to 5. Okay, great. Now I'll go up to 7.5 the next month. So I kind of went zoom, and I just losing. And now that I've dropped my dose on the way back down and kept losing, I've come to the conclusion that I probably could have lost it all on a lower dose. But that's just the way my body kind of reacts to it. So, but some people like Jamie Seltzer, he had no results for 90 days. He had to go through the doses before he even started losing, and he was over 600 pounds. So it doesn't seem to tie to your weight or it's just everybody.
See, some people would assume that he just wasn't eating right or doing what he was supposed to do. And it's not always that.
No, it's not.
We have to remember that obesity is a disease. Okay. It's not your fault, my fault. It's not our fault. It's so important that we know this, right? Obesity is a chronic progressive disease as defined by the American Medical Association. So you take this medicine away from me, I'm going to zoom up to 200 pounds. I have no doubt, because I lived my whole life without it. Right. So why do I think I can come off of it and magically be okay? For me, I don't think so. I think some people might be able to come off of it. Maybe if you haven't been overweight for that long, if you had a certain thing that triggered some dysfunction in your body, like childbirth or menopause or an accident or a trauma, maybe
Right.
you
Yeah.
can, work back through some of that. But for me, since age 10, I've been counting calories myself and going to diet clinics since age 10. So,
Sure. Yeah.
this is where it's
Yeah.
at for me.
And it is a disease. And that's why, even though I was telling Dee Dee, I really liked Yolanda and her strong message about lifestyle, but that was the one thing I kind of felt like she didn't get, that the way she spoke as if it wasn't a disease. And I think that's the difference. Now, do I think everybody has the disease of obesity who's overweight? I agree with you, Lorraine. There's a small percentage. I do think most people who want to maintain their weight loss is going to need to be on it forever. I believe, until you show me some clinical trials that say differently, I do believe that. That's just my belief. I know there are people who don't, but yeah.
Well,
And this is why I say it's so tough. When just because you're taking this medication, that doesn't mean all your years of the obesity struggles is going to go away with that injection. If you think that, that is just not true. It is not.
Right.
Some people are going to still struggle. Some people are still going to want that cookie, that cake. And some people are just still going to eat however they're going to eat. And I'm not talking about the people that are using it as like, okay, I'm going to eat whatever I want. Not that attitude. But I'm talking about the people who have real challenges with eating. I'm going to tell you, from somebody who has real emotional attachment to food, that this medication for me has not taken that away. And so you're going to have people that have the struggles with the eating still.
Yeah, I just read an article about this the other day about emotional eating, how Zepbound, people on Zepbound, tirzepatide, it doesn't take away the emotional eating piece, right? So we're happy, we want to eat. We're sad, we want to eat. We're excited, we're celebrating. We're depressed, something bad happened, I want to feel comfort. So it's very important to still manage that emotional eating piece. Zepbound doesn't keep you from feeling sad and lonely and happy and and all that stuff.
Therapy.
I have noticed
therapy helps.
if I'm sad, if like this happened to me not too long ago, I got some bad news. I was really upset. I drove to the bakery. I got a donut because that will make me feel better. And I ate the donut and I did not feel better. I did not get that dopamine hit like I used to get pre-Zepbound. I just kind of was like, well, that was sugary and it tasted okay. Now I feel kind of gross. Like,
it dulls that.
That's weird. That's weird. I was looking for something to make me feel better, and it had always been food that made me feel better, and I can't use food like that anymore. So I have to find other things like exercise or journaling or talking to a all the and we know all these things, right? But and that was like I think I had lost 40 or 50 pounds at that point, and I went straight to the food. And it's just I'm just still learning, it's a learning process.
It's going to take a long time. These were coping skills that our brains have registered this, right? So when you have a bad day and you eat the donut, in the past, that gave you a feeling. And I feel like that's what Zepbound does, right? You're not getting, which is why they're doing studies on this with people who have addiction issues, because you're not getting that same feeling, right? But those patterns are there, and we just have to, it's going to be hard. It is hard. It is hard to rewire that. So where I chose not all or nothing, where I chose to not do it because I just don't want to go through that. Everybody's different. So you just have to know the food is designed for you to do that, right? Those donuts, the ultra processed foods, they're designed to make you want them more. So you can have this medication, but if that was like a source of comfort and they have other stuff going on internally, it's going to be a lot more difficult. So don't beat yourself up is my point.
No, it's,
No.
I mean,
I'm one of those people that could cut it out, but then I still find my way back to it. It's like an old flame, Taisha.
it's still
Yeah.
like, right? I
An
still
old
like
flame. You
those
want that
things.
old flame back. So, but you're right, Lorraine. It doesn't have for me that same, like satisfaction that it had before. I will say that. So yeah, which is helpful, right? Which is helpful. So
I have a
we
video
another
coming out
super
about that.
chat.
Mhm.
Wait a second. Here
Oh,
we
okay.
go. Emotional eating. Thank you, Michelle. She said it requires something to replace it with, which is not easy to do. Those of us with the disease of obesity have a mental health component we don't often talk about. And I know people, let me give her a thank you, a proper thank
Thanks,
you.
It's true.
Yeah.
A
I'm
lot of
working on a video about this, so it's fresh in
Me
my.
too. Yeah, me too. I've done a couple of emotional eating because it is just me. But I want to say, I think, I know we get it sometimes backlash about saying, therapy and all of that, but I think therapy can be a good thing for a lot of us. I do think it could be a good thing. And, I just think people need to kind of be open to that, talking to somebody if you have deep-seated kind of issues. And when you say emotional eating, though, people always associate it with being sad and upset kind of feeling. It's not, for me, it's all things. It's all occasions. I mean, my family, that's how we celebrate. We go out, we eat. So it's my association is not just when I'm miserable, unhappy, depressed. That's part of the problem. It's when I'm celebrating and I'm happy and, I'm doing all the things. And you got to remember, for me, I've never been a drinker. I've never been a smoker. So where people have drank wine, people drink, people smoke cigarettes or whatever they're smoking. I've never done that. So food has been all for me, the celebration of choice. And so that has been a struggle. That's why for me, food has always been a struggle. And I was one of those people who thought, gosh, I wish I could enjoy a glass of wine and not have like the sweet dessert, but I just don't like the taste of alcohol. So that's another thing where I felt like it's just been like a burden for me with this whole food thing. And that's why I don't want to call it good versus bad. I just want to call it food. And I don't want food to be like I don't want food. I feel bad for people who food is like the everything to them. Like, I want to get away from that. That's why I'm not on my channel cooking and all that. I don't want to put a focus on food. Like, I want to take it away from the food. So, yeah. So that's just my thing.
There's a question, Dee Dee, that Bellflower put in there from Dana Church. And I don't ask me what time. It was very recent, but Bellflower just put a question in there. There it is. Yeah.
I'm almost postmenopausal. What would be your suggestion for the hormone testing from my doctor? I'm 58 and I've never had any HRT. Just thinking that I might need some. Thank you, ladies. Okay, great question.
I think it depends on how many years you're postmenopausal. Like, I have about 10 years post. Mel, do you have any info on that?
Yeah. So, the initial WHI said one thing, but the most recent studies, which are as recent as this year, I think January 2025, not a scientist, not a doctor, this is just my understanding, is that it's either, a lot of people get it a little twisted, either 10 years, no longer than 10 years post-menopause, do they suggest that you start. This is what the suggestion is. Or the other thing is, if you're over 60, they think you should start on a lower dose. So now what we know is, if you are either 10 years out from menopause or you're over 60, based on recent studies, that is the recommendation that you would start, but you would start at a much lower dose than someone who is in the chaos that is perimenopause or the chaos that is early menopause. Well, that's what Dr. Mary Claire Haber says. She says perimenopause is where the chaos lives. So talk to your doctor, get a full hormone panel. And I'm not sponsored by MIDI, but I know that MIDI takes insurance, MIDI.com, and they do require that you go to LabCorp and you get some blood work as well. But get your hormones checked and see where you are. The sooner the better. I think Dee Dee said that earlier. The sooner the better. However, I plan on doing it for an extended period. but at a lower dose.
Same.
Sorry.
I looked at Mini before, we came on here because Google was listening and started advertising it like crazy. And they did not take, it's 4 types of insurances they take. So when you put in your state, your 4 will come up. And if not, I would still call and just price check. You know what I mean? Like, so still call them, still tell them what you're interested in, find out how much things cost, and try another place if they don't take your insurance. So I just, I just want you to know that it was only 4 that came up.
Yeah, and it's not that expensive either. If you go to a specialist, there's probably going to be an out-of-pocket cost if you can't get your doctors to listen to you. You can find a menopause specialist. I'm sure Dee Dee's going to link the Menopause Society's website here, and find somebody who's a specialist. You may have to pay an out-of-network copay, which could be $50, $100. You just have to, if it's worth it to you, make that investment. You can also write it off. I write off my health expenses big time, and it makes a difference. I'm like, I need to recoup some of this money I'm spending. I have a concierge doctor, y'all. Like, So, yeah.
And 8% of your income on medical in order to be able to deduct it. I'm not a tax person, but it's something.
Yeah, yes, that's exactly it. You got it.
Yeah, because we made it last year. You better know.
I made it too.
Yeah,
all the money I made it.
After this year, I may make it.
Yeah, keep track of your spending on your prescriptions and doctor and all.
Yeah. And most of the bank apps, they will sort medical and health. And my Chase credit card, which I use for pretty much everything, it will sort all of my expenses by category. So I just grab all my health expenses. Yeah, so it makes it so easy. I'm already past the threshold this year, by the way.
Oh, wow.
Between dental and all kinds of other stuff. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Wow. And I use CVS for all my family's prescriptions, and you can go into the CVS app and you can download all your prescriptions into a spreadsheet, and then you can use that for tax purposes.
That right off.
Yeah,
that's right. Good idea. Good idea.
Well, Fit Flavor Fund says 4 types of obesity. Research is coming. They will be able to pinpoint and customize a treatment. That's
awesome. Yes. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a bit of news blurb on that. It's interesting, right? Is your obesity from genetic? Is it from something in your environment when you were a child? Maybe you had something happen to you that triggered it. So was it triggered? Was it genetic? How did it happen? The brain works in mysterious ways, right?
Somebody said Lorraine loves her spreadsheet.
I do love a spreadsheet. Those people. Oh, that's Michelle Frank. Michelle Frank's one of my fans. Hi, Michelle.
Love it. Oh my goodness. Okay. Any more questions? Well, I want to ask one question, and then we can just close this out because I think we went through the question.
We just went off the rails. We kind of moved away from, but. This is good. I mean, this is organic.
This question is for Lorraine. So, does eating cause obesity, or are you obese because you're eating a lot? What do you think?
This is
we already know.
This was a good one. So this past summer, Christopher and I, my husband and I, went to the Obesity Action Coalition conference in Washington, D.C. We listened to a bunch of amazing speakers, and one of the doctors, I forget this doctor's name. If Darian was here, he would tell us. But he gave this whole.
The bush is listening.
He gave this whole presentation on overeating does not cause obesity. Obesity causes overeating, because if you accept the premise, and it's not just a premise, it is an accepted fact that obesity is a disease. Obesity is causing you to overeat. So, and that's where maybe we can forgive ourselves a little bit because, I ate too much. Maybe maybe you did because you were happy, sad, or whatever, but maybe it was also your brain telling you all the time, what's for dinner, what's for lunch, what's in my pantry, is there any ice cream left? Maybe we'll have pizza for dinner and we can go out for ice cream after. Like, that's the running commentary in my brain, right? That's the disease of obesity driving me to overeat. So I believe, number one, that obesity is a disease, and number two, that obesity causes overeating.
I have a question. Can I ask a follow-up question then? Can someone define obesity for me? Because again, when I graduated from high school, I was this height and 108 pounds. Now, the noise that you're talking about, I had that as a kid. I would eat until I felt sick, till I had stomach aches. We were not deprived. I don't have an excuse. Like, there was no scarcity, right? So
I didn't have any scarcity.
so is obesity, define obesity, because I know we talk about it a lot, but what does that mean? Because I know I have a binge eating disorder, but I wouldn't have considered myself as having the disease of obesity. I didn't start gaining weight until I got to my 30s, but this was a lifetime of poor eating habits, or overeating.
I mean, I think there's, and I'm not a doctor, I'm not an expert on this, right? But I think there's disordered eating, and maybe that's triggered by a trauma or an event, or something you saw on TV, or what I mean, like something that happened, and then your brain kind of got into this rut that you couldn't get out of, right? But I feel like obesity, for most people, I feel like it's a genetic condition, and maybe you have it in there, it's a genetic condition, but maybe it doesn't develop into a problem until something in your environment maybe triggers it. So maybe it's a chronic ear infection as a child, or maybe it's, you were presented all these foods and you just really liked them and and it just kept going. I don't know what triggers it, but I do believe it has to have a genetic component for a lot of people. So I don't really know.
Well, but I was going to say, Lorraine, I agree with you on what you said, but I also think that there are people who overeat who are not obese. So it's really interesting. Like, I would love to see like some brain scans and some other types of health studies, clinical studies done to explore that. And it was funny because Dee the other night, Darium made that comment, but he was there with you guys in DC. He made that comment, and it was something that I think people were interested in learning more about, not questioning whether or not obesity causes overeating, but kind of questioning the flip side of that. Well, why are there people who overeat who are not obese, and what is it? What is that mechanism? Is it a level of GLP-1 deficiency?
Yeah. And I hear that a lot with people who come from a home that was maybe food insecure, food was scarce. So when food was available, you ate it, and you ate all that you could because you didn't know when you were going to get food again. Now, that wasn't my situation, but my parents definitely restricted what food I had access to. So I couldn't eat a snack anytime I wanted a snack. Like, that was not that was not available for me. But at meal times, I got to eat then. So you better know I was going to eat all that I could eat. And that was just I don't know, was it my brain? Was it a situation? I remember getting Halloween candy as a child. That was like gold. And I would make that Halloween candy last till New Year's because I never got candy. I never was allowed to have anything like that. So when I had it, it was like, I have so many traumas, so many things
around food,
all around food. I mean, I can give you all these examples through my childhood of being not allowed to eat something that maybe my sister was allowed to eat, or maybe being kept from foods everyone else was eating because I wasn't allowed to eat those things because I was overweight.
Wow. Yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah.
I
That's-
looked up the definition.
Oh, yeah?
Just because I'm curious, right? Of course, this is ChatGPT, so take it, it does say obesity is a medical condition characterized by excessive body fat that increases the risk of health problems. It's typically defined using body mass index. So then I go down to key points, right? One of them that's interesting is obesity is influenced by a mix of genetics, environment, behavior, hormonal regulation, and increasingly ultra-processed foods and disrupted brain-body hunger signaling, which I talk about, the brain.
Ultra-processed foods are making us all fat.
I mean, and it says...
It's a component. It's just a component, but yeah.
Just a component. And on here, it says on GLP-1 medications, which I didn't even ask about that.
Yeah.
Like Zepbound, Wegovy, or Ozempic, obesity is approached as a chronic metabolic condition, not a willpower issue. So again, don't beat yourselves up. That's it. It's not willpower.
It's not willpower. It's not.
Well, that just confirms what I've been saying here tonight about some people are gonna have some tough struggles, and they're not just gonna be able to take that shot and get rid of all the processed foods, everything, because there's so much that goes into that. It's not just about taking that injection.
Well, here's Christopher Durham.
For some people.
Christopher, do you want to say hi?
No.
Here's Christopher Durham. Christopher Durham, you want to say hi?
Hey, see.
Allie's here.
How are you?
Allie just texted me.
We hear his voice.
There's no escape.
No.
Taisha, I've got a link to one of the obesity societies that has like a 50-page paper.
Will you send that to me?
Yeah, and I think they cluster obesity into 7 or 8 groups.
Okay.
And food is certainly one of them. Environment, there's a whole sexual abuse one. There's a whole food insecurity one. So what they say is it's rarely one thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny you said sexual. Oh, can we say that? Abuse?
I think.
I don't know. Some certain YouTubers don't say certain words, so I don't want to get her channel flagged. But what you were saying, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
And we've heard that a lot on our channel. Not a lot, but we do these interviews with people, and that it is a thing.
It's a protective mechanism, and then when you learn early on, it triggers that disease, and you just
your brain, I think, gets in that cycle.
Like a loop.
It's very hard to unloop it, if that makes sense.
I mean, basically, they say it's generally 2 or 3 things, and because there's so many factors that go into it, you can't point. It's this complex comorbidity thing, right? There's no one thing to point to go that this made everybody fat.
Right.
Otherwise, we could just talk about one thing.
I think when people come with I think that's why people use words like judgmental and feel so judged and feel so protective, because this food is a protection. Obesity is their protection.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked to people who literally were abused as children and said, if I was bigger, they didn't mess with me.
They didn't bother me.
Yeah,
and then
I've seen that too.
I have too.
They grew up and they couldn't stop eating. They became adults and they still continue to have this problem.
The whole PTSD never goes away kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, this is interesting. We have a comment from a comment from JC Calamity Jane. She says, not a question, but regarding what Lorraine said about food insecurity, malnutrition, there is now a type 5 diabetes caused by chronic malnutrition, especially during childhood or adolescence. And she says insulin deficiencies.
I guess
Isn't
if
that interesting?
You aren't able to eat enough, or maybe you're not eating nutritious.
Well, and the challenge is food insecurity can cause not just the metabolic, but it can cause the psychological. So I have 6 adopted brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
My youngest, I was 9 when I have a twin brother, and then there's another set of twins just under me. They were 6.
when your parents adopted them.
When they were adopted, they looked like 4-year-olds. They were so malnourished when they came to our house.
Wow.
My little sister would hide biscuits in her pocket because she didn't know if she'd get food again.
Oh man.
Oh,
He has never escaped that.
Yeah.
That thought is always in her head. So
is she obese?
oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
She has other problems too.
Yeah,
but-
I mean, there was a lot of things going on there, but it's just like I say, when you layer in, there's multiple causes for it. Then you layer in packaged foods, and you layer in
Yeah.
too many screens, and you layer in, and there's just so much stuff.
Yeah.
This is what I bring to my talking about this in this way, not just from me, but being a teacher and seeing kids that have these stories. Like I have kids in my class right now who are experiencing some of those things. And as a teacher, when you see or experience something or hear something, you have to report it. It's just it's a law.
Yeah.
But you see these kids, and then when you see them down the road, like Christopher said, they're obese. I mean, they don't get past that trauma, that emotional trauma, and a lot of them don't have therapy or anything. So that's why I guess I'm sensitive to that, and that's why I present the way I do, because I just experience it. That's one of the stress relievers when I retire. I'm probably going to still have all these stories in my mind and in my head, but I won't have to live it every day.
Yeah, teachers, I mean, you guys see it all, right? You see so much, and it's a hard job for sure.
Yeah, because even your brothers still went to school. They went to school, right? They still had to go to school.
Yeah.
So, it's close. Sometimes the teacher is closer than even their family. They're telling us
they don't it's more than we see our kids usually. So
yeah. So that's all I was just trying to say. It's just, I think it's so much. It's not just about this medication. Like, this medication is great. It's it's awesome. But for those people that can take it and just keep it moving and lose the weight real fast and change that mindset, that's great. But I'm just saying, there's so many people that have struggles that's just beyond that. And when you don't know, you don't think about it, right? Because your life is not like that. And the only reason why I know is because I've experienced it for 32 years here, just with other families and other kids and, that sort of thing. So
these chats are good.
Yeah. Yeah. You'd be surprised too, how many, the more I've taught, how many, kids that don't live with their mom. Like their mom or their dad, they don't live with them. Fourth,
a bunch of them down here.
Fourth of your class, they're living with grandparents, and these grandparents thought that they were just going to be retired, and now they have to raise like grandkids. So, and usually when a mom and dad is not involved, it's a serious thing. It's not just by chance, right? So I'm just saying, so many people that we don't realize come with all that, and I just think that that's why I always say we have to give people grace and take your injection and do the best you can do, and it's like, do it the best you can do. That's what I'm doing.
I'll be honest, I never thought about, like I was saying, I'm glad we're having this talk, because I didn't even consider that. Do you know what I mean? Like, everyone,
well, I did.
I did not. Everyone didn't have, a problem with just overeating. There were other things that led them to that. And so I will do a better job of making sure that I'm mindful of that, and then the language that I'm using, because I definitely don't want anyone to feel attacked. And I just didn't even think about that. I didn't think about what led someone there. Like, it's not just simply like, I just love to eat. Like, it wasn't a sad or happy thing. I just love to eat. But that's not everybody's story.
Right.
So then if you're dealing with trauma, so anyway, thank you.
There's a lot of
good conversation.
a lot of paths to obesity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
And it's good to understand other people's point of view. It broadens our horizons, and
and therapy is not a bad word, guys.
No.
Therapy is not a bad word. It's not.
They're just raising.
Can I just say this, because I also think just to give you some food for thought with this food insecurity. We had some kids that were saying, this is years and years and years ago, that they were saying they were sad that it was going to be a spring break, and we were like, what? All kids want spring break? What's going on? And the little girl said, well, I like to be at school because now that it's spring break, I won't eat. And we were like,
Yeah.
you won't eat. And she was like, no, we don't have food. So we, the
Oh my
teachers got
goodness.
together, we got them gift cards, and, we sent a care package home for the week. And so that's some things that I guess you don't think about. I wouldn't think about it if I wasn't a teacher,
No.
but I've experienced this and I'm experiencing it now. So I think that is why I always say with the give yourself grace. And I honestly, I take these emotions home with me. I'm thinking about that when I go home. I'm thinking about, teachers, you just don't leave your work behind, especially now, because it's just a challenge now with a lot of these kids and families. And I teach in a nice suburb. This is not like you might be thinking, oh, she's in the inner city where people don't have, no, I'm teaching in a suburb, a nice suburb. And it's everywhere. It's everywhere. Now it's worse. I have a friend who teaches in a neighborhood that's poverty level, and it's a little bit worse I want to say a little bit worse. It's worse there, but it's still the same kind of stories. It's just a different environment. It's the same, it's just that theme that kind of runs through. So I don't want to because I don't want to be doing the Oprah ugly cry on here, but I just want to say, so I see, and it's like, I can see it in people. I see it in people when I'm looking at some of these content creators and some of these people that have been, at 400 and 500 pounds. It's like, I can relate because I've seen their story. I've seen people grow into that. So, because remember, I've been teaching for 32 years. So kids that I had at 8 are now 40.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
wow, that's a long time.
You see the hurt and the trauma they went through. It sticks with you. It stays with you. And what is your friend and your buddy? Sometimes it's only food, right? Because you can't talk to the adult. The adult is abusing you.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is.
But anyway, let's
Now
end
that
it.
we've taken that dark turn.
Let's come full circle. So I just want to ask before we end it, thank you for the people that have hung in there with us to this point. We appreciate that. So to end this on our hormone and our note that we we came here to talk about, that just goes to show you how deep this obesity really is. But I want to know from each of you before we get out of here, what advice would you give to a woman who feels dismissed by her doctor, or she doesn't even know where to start with this whole menopause, perimenopause journey, and not to add on even the GLP-1? What advice would you give to that person?
Get another doctor. You're just gonna have to. You may have to do that. You may have to get another doctor. Second opinion, third opinion.
I went to telehealth because my doctor told me you just need to diet and exercise.
Telehealth is an option. That's an option, absolutely.
Yeah, and also if you do go to telehealth, like, make sure you're talking to a doctor or a prescription writing nurse. I forget what they're called.
Nurse practitioner.
Nurse practitioner, right? Like, if you can Zoom with somebody or even talk with somebody on the phone, and they can, really like, see what you need and kind of work with you like that. I think that's great. I think that's something that everybody should have. If you can work with a registered dietitian, that's another level. That's another great thing to do,
Yeah.
because most people don't know what to eat. Most people are like, what am I supposed to eat? I don't know.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I think my advice would be to advocate for yourself. Do not be afraid to advocate for yourself. If you don't do it, no one will do it for you. And there are a lot of great telehealth options for menopause as well. And we mentioned a few of them today. But yeah, advocate for yourself and understand your numbers. Understand where you stand from a hormone standpoint. Knowledge is power. So
Yes.
that's it.
You got a super chat, Dee Dee.
Kay, the beautiful Kay with her supermodel profile pic. I love that. Thank you. She says, thank you for this follow-up panel, ladies. Love each of you for your brilliance, kindness, and willingness to share with us. Thank you. That's so sweet. I appreciate that. We all do.
Man,
Oh, wow.
but I told you your
nice
profile
compliment.
pic. Look, you looked like too young. I think it is. I think I told her profile pic. her old profile pic she was talking about, and I was like, "You look like you're like 25." Like what?
Yes, that one she does look like she's 25. And when I saw her, I don't know if she put up her real pic, but I started a stock club and she's in it. And so we could go, you see each other on this platform we're on.
Oh,
And when I saw her, I'm like, it's just nice to see, somebody in living color. You know what I mean?
You got another one, Dee Dee.
It's Jazzy.
Oh, right. Jazzy MDG. Thank you. She says, such a great show, ladies. I agree.
Hey,
so much with
Jazzy.
your points of view. Love you. I appreciate that. We appreciate that. All right, let's.
And I see you for Joe's sleep and slim down journey. Hey, Joe.
Hey, Joe.
I met Joe.
We love our Joe.
On our first menopause panel here.
She says, yes, Lorraine, this new pick is for you.
It's fantastic.
I love it.
Very young, Kate, but
yes, we love Joe. Here's Joe had a comment. We love her. She is doing her thing over there. I just love that she's such a bright light. And we're birthday twins. Did you know that, Lorraine? We were both born on the same day, so we love that too. All right, so ladies, this has been great. This has been great.
Are you a Virgo? Are you both Virgos?
I'm a Cancer. Can't you tell my tear? Well, I'll tee up in a heartbeat, Lorraine. I'll cry for happy tears, sad tears. So I try to. I'm a Cancer. We're kind of emotional.
Gotcha.
So yes.
Yes.
Let's see. Anything else for the cause before we leave?
No.
You guys want to
get your panels checked?
Yes.
Get your panels checked. And one size doesn't fit all. Not a doctor, but even if you're not on estrogen, you may want to get on testosterone. There's all kinds of options, but know your numbers.
Yes.
Know your numbers. That's a good way to put it.
And keep track of your symptoms. Keep track of them so that when you go in, because we tend to forget things when we go to the doctor's office, right?
Yes.
Write these things down and have a list of things that, like Dee Dee did, that you want to discuss with your doctor. I don't know about y'all, but I'll remember something and then I'll forget to talk about it. So if you write it down.
That's a good point. Yeah, we did that. My daughter did that. She used the Notes app of her phone. Yes. And as we thought of things, we just added it to the note, right? And then you always have your phone with you.
Yep.
Except this morning when I left mine at home and didn't see no text. But usually you always have your phone with you. So yeah.
Well, thank you. It's funny because when I started this, I think before we got on here, I said, I want this was to end at 9:30. I was thinking that I said an hour and a half, but for some reason, 9:30 stuck in my head. Well, that's more than an hour and a half. And I thought, we're not going to be on here that long. And then look at us, 2.5 hours later.
Lord.
Professional.
But that's a great conversation. So I just want to thank you. Go check out Lorraine over at the Downsize. We love them over there. We got the email B. I told her she's like my resident menopause lady. And then we have my girl.
I love it.
Yes, we have my girl at Simply Taisha. Go check her out. And I just thank you all for coming on and talking about this and sharing your experiences. I love how you pulled out the actual things you're actually using so people can see that. And, I won't say goodbye because I'll catch you all in the videos, right? So thank you.
Yes.
Have a great night. Have a happy weekend. It's almost over.
Thank you.
Yes.
I will see you guys soon.
Good night later. Love each of you.
Thank you for the super chats. Everybody who gave us super chat. Let me just shout them out really quick. We got Jess, thank you. We got Fit Flavor Fun. Allie, thank you. We had Michelle, we had Kay, and we had Jazzy MDG. And I just want to say to Rita, we love you. Come back. We want to support you. You're doing great. And, it's all love here. It is all love. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you, Taisha. Like and subscribe. That is true. Okay, you ladies, stay on here. Don't leave. Everybody else, I'll see you tomorrow.
Bye, guys.
Bye.